What is good, everybody? It is watch along day for Cubs on tap. I am Loose on tap. He that way is Juice on tap. We will be joined by our buddy Mr. Nick Hudson in just a little while. Apologies, we're getting started a little late, end of the first inning already. I will.
But we didn't miss anything.
No, you really didn't. Really didn't. Just two strong first innings from the pair of lefties on the bump here tonight. Juice, buddy, how are you? I saw you were you slid over to the South Bend game last night. Got to see Mr. Smiley. A little rehab action.
I didn't go in. I watched from the rooftop.
Same thing.
Same thing. Different. Yeah.
Different.
I never know like how I should qualify that. Did I go to the game or did I watch from
You observed the game. You observed the live event still in progress, though.
I'll say
that's
this,
an important distinction.
As somebody who watches a lot of games from the up top rooftop, you can definitely see when a major leaguer is on the mound, opposed to your normal minor leaguer. Because Smiley had it all moving. He looked great. Hopefully he carries that. Be nice to have another lefty out there. Even Little looked good last night.
He did. Really put his cojones on the table last night and got out of a pretty big jam there in the 10th. So love to see what we saw at a Little last night. It was a good night at the ballpark. It was a beautiful night to be outside. It was like 83 degrees and sunny at 83. First pitch. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
For all our score heads, 83.
It was good, man. It was fun. It was a beautiful night. It was good to see Tyler again. I feel spoiled now. We've seen so much of Tyler in person lately. And I don't know what's gonna happen when now we're gonna go like almost a month without seeing him here. It's like 3.5 weeks, but it'll still be weird after seeing him 3 consecutive weeks.
It's nice to see him like have the time to come too.
It is. It's cool.
It's not easy for law enforcement or like him as a firefighter, and then get to go to first responder night a couple of days. What was that? That was last week.
Yeah, that was that Thursday night game against the Pirates. Yeah. When the last time Steele was on the bump, ironically, it's crazy. That feels like an eon ago, and yet it was only like 6 days ago.
I always tell people like this is summer. It's something every day of the weekend. Your work week is like flies by because you're constantly doing things. But then like at night, like you guys last night went to the ball game and it really speeds up your week. Like you wake up and you're like, oh, it's Thursday tomorrow already.
I know. It's absolutely nuts. And with a holiday weekend coming up too, right? Like Memorial Day is kind of the unofficial start to summer, for a lot of people. So it'll be good. No, it'll be cool. It'll be great. But no, it was good. It was good to be out at the ballpark last night. Good to see them get a walk-off win against the Braves. Javier Assad was solid. Didn't have his best night, but still kept the Cubbies right in it. Good to see the offense come through when they needed to. And the bullpen has been a pleasant surprise of late. You're really starting to see, though, why guys like Wesneski and Brown are still on this roster, though. Having Hayden come out of the pen the way he did and getting through what they were able to do. Mark Leiter Jr. got out of a huge jam last night. I'm telling you, his new nickname's Houdini. Like, that's my nickname for Mark Leiter Jr. He is the true escape artist of this team. Like, that's just what this guy does. I love pitch. I love when they pitch him in high leverage situations, but like, I want him to come in a dirty inning because he's Houdini and he's going to get out of it. That's just what he does.
I often too think that games like yesterday gain momentum for your bullpen. Last night, 100%. It's a really talented Braves lineup, and they only gave up 1 hit, struck out 5 or 6 over a course of 5 innings. Yeah, that's one of those, like, you get some pats on the back from your manager, and you're like, all right, like, if I can do this for 5 innings against the Braves, there's no task that I'm going to see over the course of the year that's going to be worse than that, maybe other than the Dodgers, but on the same level. It's nice to see. And they realistically, like, you didn't see like a ton of the high leverage names. I mean, you saw Neris, you saw Leiter, obviously, but I mean, Little is trying to establish himself.
Yeah.
Wisniewski,
And then Tyson looked fantastic in his one and a third of work. Juice, just to back up what you said too, in terms of the numbers, the bullpen, 5 1/3 innings of work. Miller, the only player of the five that threw to go over an inning. He threw that inning and a third. Only one hit allowed by the entire bullpen. Miller gave up the single hit. 6 Ks, with 5 of those Ks coming from the combination of Miller and then Leiter Jr., who struck out the side. I mean, it's hard to be upset with what that bullpen did last night. Wesneski looked really good. Again, Leiter Jr. escaping the jam. Tyson Miller overall looked pretty solid. I mean, Tyson Miller starting to feel like a little bit of a sneaky addition, I think, for this Cubs team. Like, yeah, he costed you a Slaughter who, by all rights, was having a really good season in terms of as a first baseman, but it was a move they could make. Obviously with Michael Busch and how young he is, they really don't need another first baseman in the system. Plus, I would make the argument that Mervis and McGeary get looks before a Slaughter would at the big league level. But Miller, man, he wasn't your normal guy that comes available. He came available just because Seattle has a really good bullpen, and he was the odd man out. That was a good move by Jed, and it's paying dividends right now. I mean, he's looked, limited work so far, obviously, but he's looked good. They haven't been afraid to use him in some, last night being what I would consider a high leverage situation by all accounts as well.
I want like 3 more or maybe 4 more games worth of data on him, because I'm curious if he came over here and they told him to throw strictly sliders, because I feel like his slider usage must be higher than – I mean, he threw with the Mariners a lot, but I always go back to I was listening to the new Justin Steele podcast.
Yeah.
He had Tyler Glasnow on, and then they were talking about when they're in different areas, like when they're pitching at different organizations, like what do they do different? Mm-hmm. And Justin couldn't answer it because he's only been with the Cubs. Right. But Tyler's been with the Pirates. He's been with, the Rays, and now he's with the Dodgers. And Tyler was talking about how different it was to go from Pittsburgh to the Rays. And the Rays pretty much brought him in and were like, all right, you're good at doing this. Just do this. Like, don't make it that difficult. Opposed to with Pittsburgh, they had a pitching philosophy of all of our starters are going to throw this.
Yep.
So I think maybe in some ways, Justin even too nodded yeah, that's very much what the Cubs do. So in terms of throwing it into Tyson Miller, I wonder if he came over and they were like, hey, just strictly throw your slider. It's gross. Not a lot of guys get good wood on it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's see what you can do. Yeah, I mean, he's got the numbers. So I was trying to see if I could find usage between the two teams. Baseball Savant does not have that information, but you put it perfectly, man. I mean, there's 3 things that he very much pops off the charts doing. His chase percentage, 93rd percentile in all of baseball. His walk percentage, doesn't walk a lot of guys, 98th percentile in all of baseball. And his extension, big sweep and sliders. And it's working, it's absolutely working, and it's things you love to see. But I like what they're doing with Tyson Miller right now. And I like that, because you think back to what this organization did, Jake Arrieta was the first guy they did that to. They were like, hey, why don't you throw your cutter? Your cutter's phenomenal. And he's like, because in Baltimore, they didn't want us throwing cutters. They're like, throw your fucking cutter and throw however you need to throw. If you have an unconventional throwing motion, that's fine. Throw that way if it's going to be successful. And it was. So it's just it's cool seeing that, they very much have kept that. Obviously, there's a lot more data behind it now. It's very much kind of number nerds driven, if you want to call it that. But I mean, to see them be able to take these guys and say, hey, look, we know you do 1 or 2 things really well. Just do it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just do what you're good at. And, when it comes down to it, we'll be happy with the results, because more likely than not, it's gonna work in the Cubs' favor in some way, shape, or form. So.
And I like what you said about him not walking anybody. I looked like a week ago. I don't know what the stats are now, but the Cubs bullpen was second in all the majors in base on balls. So, I mean, if you're going to throw strikes and not give free passes, there's going to be a spot for you in high leverage on this team.
100%.
Because they have a real their walks, their hits per inning were like over a 1, and a lot of that had to be strictly walks. I mean, it was at like 1.5 when I looked out of the bullpen, which is like, that's not good. It's not sustainable. But I mean, you get those walks down, they're really not. They gave up a lot of hits, and I think they were like 10th or 12th in hits. Given up by the bullpen when I looked, but honestly, if they got rid of the walks, they would probably cut their ERA in half.
Easily. Oh, 100%. Yeah. The walks has been their biggest pain in the ass. So I agree with you, man. I agree wholeheartedly. And a guy that I've been happy, though, to see his walks come down recently is Hector Maris.
Mm-hmm. He looks gross early in the season.
He does look gross. He looks so good. Like these last 4 appearances, especially, he's just been unhittable, which is phenomenal. Early in the season, I think he was doing something because his control wasn't quite there. They probably had him tinkering with something, and now it's all just starting to settle in and dial in because now I think it's been goose eggs on his stat sheets the last 4 or 5 times out now. He's just been that good in every facet. Damn it.
But I mean, this is going to be like one of those games where you're going to have to steal a bag.
Yeah.
Both these pitchers are going to
get somebody on, get somebody over, get somebody in. It's going to be 100% that kind of game. Stolet has teed up 2 of the things I wanted to talk about for us here in the comments, which is awesome. Stolet breezing, legend. The first one being Brennan Davis leaving the Iowa Cubs game today. That's not fucking great, Bob. He can't stay healthy, and it's a shame because you're seeing the talent right now in Iowa when he is healthy. He's been on an absolute tear. He was a guy that before the season I wrote, that he was kind of a wild card in a lot of facets if he could stay healthy for this Cubs team this year. We're seeing what happens when he is healthy. It's just a matter of keeping him on the fucking field, and he's just not been able to do that. What was it, 24 games, I think it was today that he's played with the Iowa Cubs, and he's already experiencing another injury. Hopefully it's nothing super serious. I believe it was Tommy Birch that originally reported it, and I want to say it was a hamstring.
No, and those are the worst.
Yeah, I think it was
because that's going to linger.
I think it was a hammy. I'm double confirming myself here really quick before we screw something up. Oh, it didn't say. It just says he left with the training staff in the middle of the game. And he'll be evaluated.
Maybe he's leaving to catch a bust. No, he's not. But no. Just trying to be optimistic.
Yeah, I feel that he's a guy that I so desperately want to see remain healthy because he just has not been able to do so.
It's just nice to have. And I mean, I want Brennan to succeed here. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes I always think of Corey Patterson when I see these. Yeah, Corey Patterson was Mr. 5-tool player, and then tears his ACL, and never the same after that. Bounced around, and it's unfortunate, but I mean, it's also. It's going to be needed because we're going to talk a lot about, at least on this live, I'm sure, about some trade stuff and what we would target, which is always fun. I think it's always nice to speculate. Speculation
is always a good time. I agree. And Bobby Miller, our boy, has been writing some good articles over at OnTestSports.com, some trade candidates. I know he's got one in the works about a potential bullpen arm. Coming up here in the not so distant future. Oh wow, a base hit. Is that the first one of the game?
Yes.
Well, son of a bitch. There goes the no-hitter.
Well, I'd just be happy with seeing Steele go 6 today and just showing old Steele.
Yeah. I think so far he's looked like old Steele. I think it really was just the Pittsburgh Pirates have his number. That's his team. That's always going to berate him from now on, and it's just something we got to fucking live with. Like, I think he would even tell you like that they have a good game plan against them. And really, I mean, I talked about it on the show with Nick when him and I did the show just the other night. Like, Steele didn't look bad on Thursday night. He made 2 mistakes, and that was ultimately really all that costed him, because he still went 5 2/3, struck out 7, and he only walked 1. He just got hit hard, and he didn't even give up a lot of hits. I think he only gave up 5 hits. He just got packed for the tune of 4 runs.
I want to see more bite on the slider. It's been, it's not flat. I'm never gonna say flat, but yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. See, he just like that pitch that he just threw is usually up and in.
Yeah.
Like, he gets it in on the hands.
Yeah, and it's right now it's up and over the top of the zone. Yeah. And Steele's not throwing with the velocity where he's going to blow that by guys high in the zone. I mean, that was a 92 mile per hour right down the middle of the plate, up high.
I feel like his cat, like when he has his catchers out there, he's not the location type. He's more like, I just want the ball in.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when you see Amaya or even, Gomes catching him, it's just location on the inside. And if it ends up or down, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but he's got to get that inside the hands.
Yeah, that's where he thrives.
He knows it too.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. I mean, it's just a matter of coming back from the injury. Location's probably the last thing that's going to come too.
Did he just throw a
curveball? He's probably took a little off of the slider.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I was like 83. I was like, I don't remember seeing 83. Yeah, like Stoll had said here, he said that's another mistake. Top of the zone at 92. Yeah, BP fastball. Yeah, that just the placement wasn't. Wasn't.
And if that ball's in on the hands, it's popped up to Madrigal or Morel, whoever's at third tonight.
I think it's Christopher. I could be totally wrong.
I thought I saw Madrigal because I saw a ground ball and he took 7 hops to
7 steps to get it across the diamond. It is Madrigal at third tonight. Yeah, sorry. I admittedly.
No, you're good.
I knew who was in the lineup. I just didn't know where everybody was playing.
I do like him experimenting with throwing that slider.
Oh, that's a good pitch.
Like at different velocities.
Yeah, it's just a whole different look.
Because I think like he throws that really hard one in very well. If he can start to throw that slower one on the outside corners,
yeah,
it's going to get more guys leaning back out over, and then that makes that pitch look that much better.
Yeah, and I kind of like this whole. Yeah, that's a good one right there to get the ground out. I really like too what he did against Short there with kind of that like backdoor slider almost, especially on righties. You just get it to catch that nick of the zone on the outside piece of the plate, and that's a hard pitch to hit because to them it looks like it's going to come outside, and then it bends back over the plate, and then by that time you can't do shit about it. Oh no, Juice froze. Any idea why Madrigal got the nod over Vasquez is Stolett's question here while we let Juice work through his technical issues, and he's frozen. He'll be back. I have no idea why. My guess, Vasquez, I don't know if they want Vasquez playing third. I think that's really what it is. I don't know how much he's played third. Actually, we can look this up while we're talking about it. But I think he's going to come in and be more of like a late innings, like defensive replacement. Because admittedly, I know a lot of people want to see Vasquez, but like his numbers, admittedly, are not that much better than Madrigal's at this point in terms of with the bat. Like he's been okay, but he hasn't been great. So something to kind of keep in mind there. Not that Madrigal has been much better, but it's a 262, 360, 397 slash line at AAA this year. Not a lot of pop. And I get, it's better than Madrigal, but, I think they want to give Vasquez a little bit of a easier ease in as well. And I don't know if Atlanta was the team they wanted to do that with. So that could be, something they keep an eye on. Let's see here. Fielding. So 2024. Yeah, he's got 4 games under his belt at third. Most of his time has come at short. So, we might see him at third, but I don't know what it is, man. They absolutely love, there he is. They absolutely love Madrigal at third. Any thoughts here for this question, Juice? I was rattling off my thoughts on the whole Vasquez versus Madrigal thing. Any thoughts as to why it's Madrigal over Vasquez?
I have no idea why Vasquez is even on the roster right now.
Can we talk about that? Because
Yes.
I felt the exact same way when I saw that news. Like, why do they need another middle infielder on this team right now? And especially a guy who's not like raking AAA. He's not bad, but he's not like lighting the world on fire right now.
And I mean, Dansby looked healthy last night. But I mean, kind of jogging in the second. I mean, I know he's probably still
a little sore.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't get the whole.
Do you think Vasquez could have been called up as like a consolation plan in case Nico or Dansby isn't truly ready? And then if they both look healthy, he goes back down in a few days?
Yeah. And
because he's already on the 40-man, so you don't have to worry about anything from a 40-man standpoint.
Right. I had a full internet tire blow.
It's all good, man.
Went dead out, so now I'm finally getting back to the game. I mean, maybe it's like I said, I am baffled how he got a look. Because to me, it's the same player as Madrigal and Mastrobuoni. And
yeah,
I mean, and now you're going to strictly try to play Nico Dansby almost every day.
Right.
So.
And even if you're not playing them every day, you have Madrigal on the roster. I mean, you arguably, if you really wanted to get weird with it, you could play Madrigal at third and you could play Morel at one of the two middle infield spots. I don't think they're going to do that at this point. I think they just want Christopher to be that third base DH guy. But I don't know. Yeah, the Vasquez call-up puzzled me a little bit.
And two, maybe they've had Vasquez in trade talks.
Maybe.
That be another.
Audition him a little bit and see what he looks like.
Or at least give him a taste.
Yeah.
I mean,
taste.
I don't. And two, you look up and down. I did a Cubs minor league reset.
Yep.
Where I just kind of looked through what type of years guys were having. There's just so much depth at the shortstop position in this farm. It's ridiculous. I mean, even guys ACL right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's deep. I mean, you got Rojas, you got, the list goes on and on beyond even Rojas. I mean
even Christian Hernandez is having a nice
which is good.
Start in his.
Which is good.
I would not be surprised if he's in my backyard in a couple weeks. Wouldn't surprise because I think Rojas has a good chance to get a call. Not
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been really good at South Bend. I wouldn't be surprised.
This league just doesn't challenge him as much as I know. I got a funny feeling he's going to get to Tennessee and have not a rude awakening, but he's going to struggle a little bit.
The adjustment period. I mean, that's the biggest jump to me in minor league baseball is high A ball to double A. That's it. Once you're good at double A, most guys go to triple A and have no issues at triple A.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the talent gap is that different. The only difference is double A is just a lot of younger guys that are more raw, whereas triple A is a lot more guys that are closer to the show or, those organizational depth guys that are, waiting for that call in case of an injury type guys. It's just a little bit different in terms of personnel, but talent-wise, I think double A and triple A are very similar.
You can make the argument, too, that the pitching at double A is better than the pitching at triple A.
I agree.
Because it's a lot of the young spin thrower.
The young up and comers that are going to get a call to the show at some point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ian Happ had nice at bats last night.
He did. He honestly, it's funny. We were talking to Rachel W. It sits in front of us, routinely at Wrigley, and hanging out with my Thai guy and everybody. She even said, she's like, if you look at Ian Happ's numbers, like he's almost oddly been better from the opposite side of the plate. Like he's been better against lefties almost than he has been against righties this year, which is weird.
Mm-hmm. He's only home on the right.
Well, no, he's had a homer from the left side. That homer in that Pirates game was from the left side because he pulled it down the right field line.
That.
And I forgot it off the foul pole.
I forgot he has two now.
Yeah, finally. And of course, Joey picks him the one fucking night that he gets a homer too. Joey's got the horseshoe up his ass now from a Dinger's perspective.
Well, I think we're all kind of struggling right now. It's been kind of like
they're not hitting a lot of homers. Yeah, they're not hitting a lot of homers. And it's the guys that are hitting homers are not your big guns right now. It's a lot of the quote unquote weird guys, we'll call it, from a pick perspective. I got to make a loud noise. I'm gonna mute myself real quick.
Have at it, man. If you got to blow your nose, buddy.
No, I was checking an empty Kleenex box into the trash, but I had to bounce it off the wall, so I didn't want to make a big boom and scare the shit out of everybody listening. But just let's get into this topic here from Stolet, because we were talking about this a little bit in our group chat earlier today. And Stolet says package to get Vlad Guerrero Jr. from the Toronto Blue Jays. He says Blue Jays would get Brennan Davis, Drew Gray, BJ Murray, and Ben Brown. That feels a little rich.
That's a lot.
That is a lot, especially because Ben Brown is in the majors. Davis is effectively major league ready, assuming he can stay healthy. Murray is close. I believe Murray's in Iowa right now as well. Drew Gray is really the only guy in there that's a low-level prospect. So these would be some guys that are like almost MLB ready by most standards. We were kind of talking, and we didn't really get into like packages and players and things like that. But I personally started looking at some contract stuff. He has one more year of team control before he hits free agency. He's making $19.9 this year. He's ARB 4, but Super 2 next year. So he's probably going to make about $20 million again. So that's a pretty big, you're not getting a guy at a discounted rate here. Like you're getting Guerrero at, probably not what he's going to get in free agency, but probably pretty close, right? Like he's, he probably gets 25 in free agency, I would think, per year at best. Just because he's a first baseman.
And he's 20. That'd be 26 too when he hits free agency.
Still super young. So the youth aspect of it will help with that as well. I don't hate the idea of the Cubs adding him. My only concern is with a guy like Guerrero right now, and it's not really a concern because I think it's going to come, but like what you would be acquiring him to be, which is that thumper. He's not really a thumper right now. He's hitting well. He's got a nice slash line. I mean, he's a 780 OPS player right now. But the slugging's not quite there to quote unquote Guerrero standards. And I think that can come around as the season moves on. I think it's still very early. And he's still hitting the ball well. But I feel like if you're gonna go out and pay that kind of a price tag, if you're the Cubs, you want that guy to be thumping the way you would need him if he's coming into this lineup to be a thumper.
Yeah, I think it's twofold. Like I see what you mean with that, but I also there's a lot of value to trading outside of the NL. I think too, and so we were talking about like what the trade package would look like, and I'm just going off of Bleacher Report and like what they speculate, and with the situation that the Toronto Blue Jays are in, cash was like a big thing. If they're able to throw cash over there, it goes a long way. It almost saves you a player.
Yeah.
But the favorite was the Seattle Mariners, and the trade was Guerrero went over for Lazaro Montes, who plays outfield. He's the 52nd ranked prospect in baseball in cash. And they think that would be enough to move him off of the roster. So if you're looking at like if you wanted a Cubs comp it'd be like pick one of these three: Ballesteros, Triantos, or like an Owen Casey maybe. Which I mean, but Owen Casey, where he sits in the top 100 is very close to where Seattle Montez sits.
Yeah.
So, I mean that's what you're looking at.
Well, you said Montez was the 52nd ranked prospect in baseball?
That's what it said on the article that I read. Their fourth best prospect within the majors. Within their system, sorry.
I'm trying to find him really quick in the top 100. So that might be per a different publication.
Sure. Lazaro Montez.
Lazaro Montez. Colt Emerson. You said he's their fourth best prospect. So according to MLB Pipeline, Lazaro Montez is the 84th ranked prospect in baseball.
Yeah, it's all
it's subjective. Yeah, he's an A-ball player. He's 19. His ETA for the majors is 2026, according to this. So, I mean, I would make the argument, dare I say, that maybe Ballesteros and another lower level prospect, maybe another top 30 guy, told the back end of your top 30 gets the job done. If that's what the proposition is Montez and cash. Because I think the Cubs would be willing to give cash, even if it's a little bit of cash, a couple $1 million. And then on the flip side of that, you give up a top 60, top 100, 60th best prospect in baseball type thing. And then you turn around and you give maybe I don't know. Hold on, let me pull up the Cubs top 30 here. So
it's easy, and I just want to round this out so everybody has an idea of what we're talking about here. If you look at the Toronto Blue Jays system, they don't have a lot of outfield depth within their system. And they have one guy who plays outfield, third, and shortstop. That's Addison Barger. He's in AAA. He's 24. And then their next guy after that, Alan Rodden, I mean, you're looking at a 24-year-old in AA. You know what I mean? A lot of those guys are already in AAA by that time. And then
would you be willing then maybe if the trade package was a Ballesteros plus a Brendan Davis because he's close to the majors, assuming he's healthy?
Well, this is the other thing too. We need to, when we talk about this, do they want to rebuild their farm and get younger, or do they want major league ready talent now? That's the other.
If they want to rebuild farm, that Seattle trade very much does that because it's a 19-year-old prospect that you would be getting. So that very much turns into they're rebuilding the farm if that's what gets the trade done. So it says Jays want pitching help. That's why he threw in Brown. That's fair, man. I'm just saying if there's hypotheticals out there that think one top 100 prospect in cash gets it done, I just think 2-3 top 25 prospects in Ben Brown is rich.
You know who would really interest them that is in my backyard probably? Brett Bateman.
Yes. Bateman's had a nice start to the year. Very nice start to the year. And he's a little older too, so he might be on a little more of an accelerated course because he is a college player.
Yeah, I think he's 20.
Yeah, he's a little younger of a college player, but he played at Minnesota.
22. Yep, 22.
Bateman. Yeah, he's had a nice start to the year in South Bend. He's already launched his way onto the top 30 for the Cubs. He's 29 in the latest re-rank, according to MLB Pipeline.
Eugenio Pinango would be a nice guy to include in that trade too.
Yeah,
he's really figured it out this year.
Yeah, I think there's a world where they give up 2 top 30 guys, and it's none of the big hitters, and they can still make that work.
The good news for the Cubs is, and if they do truly want one of these guys, they're going to be able to offer more quality than most just teams. The number. Yes, because most teams don't have 7 or 8 in the top 100 like the Cubs do.
Yeah, nobody does. I mean, the Cubs are the only team with 8 in the top 100.
And a lot of those teams that do have like 6 or 7 are not competing yet or are using that depth currently.
Yeah, like a Baltimore.
Yep.
Somebody like that. Yeah, well put. Yeah, they're relying a lot more on that prospect depth than the Cubs are right now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like where. I can't believe he wasn't 52. That's what happens when you read articles, man. Like you got to go back.
Well, it just
it's all subjective too.
It really all just depends. Rickest Morty's incredible name, by the way. Justin got the that one more in on the strikeout, and then Justin's finding a spot. Stole followed that earlier comment up and said he gave Steele the stink eye.
I think Brown is untouchable in any of these trades at this point.
I think so, just because of what he's done at the big league level. Being able to bounce between reliever and starter and be effective in both roles. He's way too valuable to this team right now. Like to me, the guys that are the most valuable to the Cubs are the guys that are closest or making a current impact. Like Jordan Wicks is still a prospect by standards, but because he's going to be in the starting rotation now, like he's an untouchable, I think, largely because he's currently helping your team. Unless he's getting directly replaced by somebody you deem that is better, right? Like unless you're starting, trading for an elite starting pitcher that would effectively supersede Wicks in the starting rotation, like otherwise Wicks is untouchable in my eyes. I think there's a world though, because like Toronto is kind of in a little bit of a rock and a hard place because they have this young core that they need to figure out what the fuck's going on with, that they really only have under contract for the next 2 to 3 years. So they kind of are at like a rock and a hard place type impasse where their teams could probably offer them low ball and be like, hey, this is the best we'll give you, or you can go rot and figure out what you're going to do for the next 3 years and be in mediocrity and not get any better. Right? Like, I think that's a piece that teams are going to have to keep in mind as well. I don't think people are going to be jumping at getting a Vlad Guerrero when he's only got 4 home runs at the end of May. I mean, this was a guy that is expected to be a 30-plus home run thumper and has largely underperformed. Like, I think that's where some people like hear Vlad Guerrero Jr. and think of the kid that had a fucking 40 homer season. He's done that once. Like Vlad Guerrero Jr. has largely been, and this is not even to be mean, because I think he's been a great player, but because he came onto the scene so fast and so just electric, he has largely been a disappointment these last couple seasons. And that's crazy to say, because by any great baseball standard, I mean, just look at his last 3 years of work. 48 homers, 29 doubles, and 111 driven in that 2021 season. I mean, and while hitting 311, slashing 311, 401, 601. Everybody's like, holy shit, Toronto's got a face of the franchise MVP year in, year out player on their hands. But then over the last 2 seasons, and again, this feels criminal saying that this is disappointing, but 35 doubles, 32 homers, 97 ribbies with a 274, 339, 480 slash line. So that's an 819 OPS after being 1,000 OPS player the year before. And then last year, 30 doubles, 26 homers, 94 driven in with a 789 OPS. He's not even an 800 OPS player. Still putting up great numbers. But
I still look at it this way, though. When he's in your lineup, it's somebody the pitchers game plan before. They would game plan for Suzuki, for Bellinger, or for Morel. Like, and I know his power numbers in terms of the long ball aren't there, but I mean, I just say it. The last 2 nights has looked just awful.
He looks lost,
and it happens. I mean, it's also Max Fried. He's
great,
incredible. But no, I look at dropping him in that lineup and solidifying that first base side and having Bush to move around too would be nice. Remember Bush, and I don't think that we're going to see it, but remember Bush played second base a lot.
Played third
LA.
Too. Yeah.
So I mean, he's
an athlete. He could move around if they needed to. And Rick Mortis brings up a good point here. He says remember people saying the same thing about Bellinger when he came to the Cubs, and the change worked out nicely for him as well. And I agree. Like, I'm not calling Vladimir Guerrero a disappointing player. I just think like there has been a lot of unfair expectations placed on Guerrero, I think, over the last couple of years because of that 2021 season. That, again, like, I think Toronto was kind of fracturing that relationship with him too, having to go to arbitration. Like, he filed, and things went the way they did. Like, and I just, to your point, right, Juice, like, in Toronto's lineup right now, he's the only guy you have to game plan for outside of maybe Bichette, right? Like, Varsho's a nice player. Springer's a nice player, but Springer's a little older now. They don't have the same. This isn't the lineup that featured Bautista and Donaldson and those big thumpers anymore, and Edwin Encarnacion, right?
Oof, that was a
lot. Dude, those teams were so fun. I actually went to a game in Toronto when all those guys were still there.
Such a fun stadium.
It is a fun place.
To that point, though, not easy to play in Toronto.
No, it's not.
Meaning it's a
whole country.
Uh-huh.
It's a whole country. Toronto is the New York City of Canada. Like, it is a huge market to play in for any sport. It don't matter what sport it is that you're playing in. I think, to your point though, Juiced, because this is where I wanted to get with this. You drop Guerrero into this lineup, that's wildly different. And I think the Cubs would be willing to pay a decent price because of that extra year of control. And this was not a shot at Stolen. I just think that's a little rich. Now, you take Brown out of that deal, and maybe you put in a Ballesteros.
Because I think that we're going to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I don't like Drew Gray in it either. You don't have a lot of lefty starter.
They don't, right?
So I'd pick a different guy.
So let's say instead of here, I've got the top 30 up on my list right now. Let's say instead of Drew Gray, let's say they throw in a Jackson Wiggins, right? Just hypothetically speaking, let's just say. And then instead of a Brennan Davis, maybe it's Moises Ballesteros, and you take Brown out of the deal. If it's Murray, insert other pitching prospect, and Ballesteros, I'm making that trade in a heartbeat if I'm the Cubs. Because I just don't think Ballesteros ultimately has a place to play in Chicago.
No.
But in Toronto, he very well could go up there and be the DH every day and hit 330 and, maybe drives in 130 bombs every year. And that's great. Good for him. I hope he works out because that's just a testament to the Cubs' development in terms of talent. Teams will be a lot more willing to trade with the Cubs if they see these guys going other places and being good ball players. I think
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think this specific trade, again, not a shot at Stolen. I think because of the Ben Brown aspect, it's a little too rich. I think if you take Ben Brown off of this, I think that's at least a great starting point. And you can finagle and mix and match some pieces from there. And maybe it's not even Ballesteros. Maybe it's no, I don't think it'd be Jefferson Rojas. They like Jefferson Rojas too much. I think Ballesteros is an ideal candidate for this because to me, Ballesteros is a very similar player to Vlad Guerrero if you want to talk style. And maybe arguably a better bat, at least from a contact standpoint.
It'd be interesting to see what they think of like Michael Arias or like.
That's another name. Yeah. I thought about including Arias. I didn't know if the number 9 prospect was too rich.
I mean, if that's the case, you make him the
centerpiece.
The centerpiece. Maybe you add a guy like Mervis in there. Maybe you add a Brennan Davis in there.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think.
Maybe you do still offer up a BJ Murray if you're really insistent on getting Guerrero. Maybe he's the sweetener you have to throw in at the end to say, okay, fine, we'll give you another top 15 guy, but it's going to be a guy outside of our top 10.
I just really don't like trading. I like trading from depth. So every time that I do these trades, it's like, all right, like I don't mind a guy like a Hayden McGarry going or a Matt Mervis going because if I'm trading for a 25-year-old first baseman, there's probably a good chance that I'm going to try to re-sign him and make him part of the
future, right?
The future of it.
So what does that mean for Michael Bush though if they go out and get Guerrero?
He DHs. He plays around the diamond.
You just he's another really good ball player on your roster.
Who's to say that? I mean, the way Ian Happ has been swinging it, you could put him in left, find some spots for him out there.
He's enough of an athlete where I think Bush could play just about anywhere if you really wanted him to. Peebo's asks a great question here, though, Juice. He says, would they have to play Vanney a lot, though? Well, so for this year, we noted, I think you got in a little late here, Pat, but this year it's just short of $20 million. Obviously, that's prorated over the season, so they wouldn't pay him the full 20. Next year, he probably gets awarded like 21, 22 in arbitration. And then, then he's a UFA, and then you would have to pay him. So then you ask yourself the question of, are you willing to pay a first baseman big bucks for a potentially long-term deal?
Yeah, but then again, like you look around the league, and I found that first baseman is much like the running back position in the NFL. Like it just doesn't get paid as much as you would think it would. Even
so you think they could get Vladdy at maybe like an Ian Happ level contract, like 20, 21 a year for 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, maybe you riddle it with like incentives. Maybe you do like
how many All-Star, a J-Rod type contract. We're like, hey, if you're an all-worldly player, we'll pay you $40 million a year. Otherwise, you're a $20 million a year guy.
And also, too, you have to think that if he's in Chicago and he's Vlad and he's got his brand deals, he's making a ton of money in this market.
Yeah.
I mean, look at KB. KB made hundreds of millions of dollars through playing in Chicago. I mean, it didn't work out like we wanted it to, but
yeah.
Chris Bryant may be the saddest story in all of baseball.
I don't want to go down that sad just trip right now. That'll make me like all in my feels. I don't know if I'm ready for that emotionally.
I just feel bad. It's like one of those things. I don't have any kids, and I mean, we're going to go into this real quick, but I've seen a lot out there like, does Chris Bryant love baseball, or did Chris Bryant do things because his family wanted him to do things? It's tough. And I mean, I don't know. I'm going to sit here but I did read that. I read those comments of like, he doesn't really love it. And it's not, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't love the other side of it. Maybe he doesn't like all the things that come with the game. Being major league player.
He doesn't like. I don't think he likes the spotlight. And like that was something that I've read too. Was just like people said they're like, that's just not KB. He's a very quiet guy. He likes staying to himself. Like he doesn't like being the center of attention necessarily per se. That like comes along with being a really good ball player. I think because when he was in Chicago, like because Rizzo was here, because Hayward was here, because Javier Baez was here. Like he wasn't the only focal point, and Chicago loved him. Like no matter what, even the people that like criticized him still loved him. They only criticized him because they loved him. Like he was the first like, and I kind of like this comment too. Like Chris was, the guy before that was Mark Pryor. Like just it's so much of like what could have been. His career was still great as a Cub. Like I would make the argument that him and Rizzo are both still getting plaques in left field at Wrigley, and they'll be Cubs Hall of Famers, and they'll be beloved forever in this city. I'm not worried about that. But I think just from the length of his career, like you look, especially these last few years with Colorado now, it's just like it is such a sad story because it's almost like he's lost the love for baseball in a lot of ways. It really feels like. Do you think there's a world where he would like retire early?
Yes.
And just say like I'm done, and
yes,
maybe the family moves back to like Vegas and he comes out to Chicago once in a blue moon to do events with the Cubs and like just kind of be like a brand ambassador for the Cubs in a lot of ways, and it's just kind of like I'm gonna hang my hat on my laurels of what my career in Chicago was because that was the most success he experienced.
I don't know if he'd do that. He may just make his money and
ride off into the sunset.
Ride off into the sunset. I mean, there's worse things to.
Yeah, and Rickus puts it well here. He said he was pretty upset when they traded KB. He says he could see him pulling an Andrew Luck and saying peace before his time is up. Yeah, I really could too. Like, because he's got how many years left on that Colorado deal?
4 at least.
Is it 4? I think it's more than that, isn't it? Isn't it like 5?
Remember, he was hurt for all one of them.
Stolen says another guy who looks like Cy Young against this team. In fairness, Max Fried's a really good fucking pitcher. Like, if there's any pitcher, yeah, he could win the Cy Young this year. So, like, if there's any pitcher that should look this way, this Cubs should look this way against, I would hope it's Max Fried. It's the Brian Matuses of yesteryear that I would be concerned. Rick has said he thought he signed a 10-year. It was a lot.
7 years.
It was a 7-year
in 2029. So 1, 2,
Jesus
3,
Christ.
4, 5 left. Well, no, he's in that. Well, he's got 1, 2. He'll have 4 years after this next one.
Yeah, so he's played 2 years already in Colorado. Yeah, he's got 4 years after this one. Yep. Yeah, making a cool, calm, collected $27 million a year. He only got $18 million in that first year. Oh no, that's not true.
Yeah, didn't they?
That was his payroll number, but I think he actually made $24 million in cash. That was his first year was the year he made the least amount of money though.
MLB contracts are so stupid.
They're very he had a $7 million signing bonus. That's why. So it was only 18 against the luxury tax. Or sorry, it was 26 against the luxury tax, but actual like yearly payroll, it was only 18 because he got $7 million up front.
Be interesting to see.
The Cubs really took care of him though, and are like 26. Like if you look back on it, 2015 he got his pre-arb, it was like $507K. Year 2, it's like $700K. Year 3, it's $1 million. And then they started taking care of him. They're like, hey man, we're gonna take care of you. Almost 11, then almost 13, then almost he almost made 19. Then that last year he almost made 20. Like Cubbies took good care of him, and they were like, hey man, we know what you've done, and we appreciate you. Like we're still gonna go our years with you, but like we'll give you your value in each of those years, which was cool. I think that says a lot about what he meant to the Cubs and how they valued him too as well, which I think is important as well. But it's good, man. Well, I'm gonna see if our boy Nick is.
Yeah, sorry, I was just sending him the link in the.
Beautiful. Yeah, Nick's gonna join us here in a second. And he'll we'll have to get his take on
this. Is a fun baseball conversation.
It is a fun baseball conversation. Let's have it. I like numbers
because it is legal. Mm-hmm. Although it's the greatest, to me, it's the greatest contract for a team that I don't think is going to be owned by the same group of people when the contract is up.
It's also the greatest contract for a team that can afford to put even more talent around him. It's such a unicorn of a situation, though.
It is.
So, because Rickus asks, how is it legal? So let's talk about it. So in the MLPA agreement with Major League Baseball, deferred contracts are allowed. The problem is think about it in the sense of present value of money. We have to get really nerdy on you here for a second. And Juice's background's in sales, mine's in accounting, so we can get nerdy numbers on you here. In the sense of a finance, right? If you're looking at it this from a finance perspective, right? It's the present value of money, right? In theory, you want your money is when you're due your money, right? In the life of a contract. Guys get paid over the years, they make their, money in 7 years or whatever. But you started to see some guys be willing to defer money. And it's a lot of these guys that already have a lot of money. So they're like, yeah, I'll take that cash flow 10, 15 years down the road. That's fine. Look at Bobby Bonilla. Bobby Bonilla Day. Every year he gets paid $1 million for doing nothing because he annuitized his contract. So just like you would do. My dad's a financial advisor, so I know all about this, right? You can do, right, an annuity. These are all things that common people, for retirement and things like that, you can annuitize a contract. Well, in Ohtani's case, Ohtani makes disgusting amounts of money off the field because in Japan, he is Oprah Winfrey /
and he's already had his Japanese money.
Right.
And he's already made his Angels money. So he really doesn't need it currently.
He doesn't need the money, but he knew he was in the position to get that money. So what better way to do it than to say, hey, Dodgers, because I make so much money off the field. And you know what's cool for him? Because when he makes that money, because it's deferred from a taxation standpoint, he's not going to get taxed in California dollars because he's not earning the income in the United States. He's earning the income in Japan. It's such, for him, from a financial planning standpoint, it's such a fascinating case study because he's only getting taxed at the ass-railing LA taxes of $2 million a year over the life of this contract, with $68 million then for the same amount of years after the deal, when he's inevitably going to be done with baseball and back in Japan.
So I don't know if there's a player out there that's a free agent currently right now who could take that same deal.
No.
Maybe the only one I could think of, which would be really interesting to see, and it's probably something we'll talk about a lot next year, would maybe be Juan Soto.
Maybe.
Juan Soto's made a lot of money over the course of his
as a young
MLB
player
career.
Yeah.
But this is the other thing too that I think, I wanted to have this conversation because I think the MLB, once the player collective bargaining agreement is up, this will be a definite case to be opened up and probably a disagreement within, because the MLBPA is going to argue, well, what does it matter? The player's getting paid deal anyway. But the individual owners, meaning the bottom 15, bottom 20, are going to go, I can't do a contract like this ever. This is unfair to my bottom market. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be like the Cubs, the Dodgers, Boston, New York. Probably I'd throw the Padres in there too. Probably all are going to argue that, this is fine, because the Cubs and all of them are probably going to use this as we can do things like this now.
Right. Well, and I think that's the thing that people need to consider is I think what ultimately happens if they really get to a point where it's loud enough, where enough owners are upset about it, is maybe they do cap limits on how much dollars you can defer.
100%.
Because if you look at Ohtani's contract, he's deferring 95% of the deal, or more than that. It's 97% of the money is getting deferred to future years. Let's get him in here. Ooh, there he is. Hey, buddy, we're in the middle of a heated conversation. We'll fill you in here in a second.
No problem.
But and Rickist asks here in the comments, he says, but if we're talking dollar-wise, doesn't that money lose its value over time? Isn't that why you should take the money as fast as you can? Yes, unless you're getting $68 million a fucking season. I can promise you $68 million is still going to be worth $68 million in 7 years from now, right? This is more if you're talking $100K versus $200K. Bobby Bonilla's $1 million, which is slightly, I think, interest adjusted or inflation adjusted. He's only getting a 1.2, which once he gets taxed on that, he's really only taking home probably 550K of that after taxes. It's probably a little more than that, but I'm just over exaggerating.
Also remember too, there will be a point where the deal kicks in and this will count against the cap. So Ohtani will not be there, but they will have to pay him.
They have to pay him. And to your point, Juice, right? If this ownership group sells the Dodgers by the time that comes to fruition, they don't have to be on the hook for it anyway.
And they don't care. At that point, maybe if you've won a couple of World Series, and what does it matter?
Yeah, then you made your money on it. That's the thing. But he's also the only player in baseball that's going to probably make, over the lifetime of that contract, at least half of it up in merchandise sales because he's Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I mean, he does one commercial and it's
right. So he's such a unicorn case. Like that's why it's such a fascinating contract because it's such a unicorn case. Like there's never going to be another player like that. Like you said, just probably the next closest guy would be Juan Soto. And even if that's the case, because like the teams have done this. The Nationals did this with Max Scherzer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Scherzer's still getting paid money from the Nationals. Or last year might have been the last year of him getting paid money from the Nats because he deferred like 5 years of money down the line. But see, the way the Nationals did it, they just deferred a little extra money down the line just to make his yearly number a little lower. It still was a huge number. He still got like $25 million a year, but it was 25 versus 40. That 15 million is a whole nother ball player, and that's why they did that. They were willing to do that and only defer a little bit of money down the road. Whereas like in Ohtani's case, the dude's making $2 million a season as a player, and then making $68 million is just dead money at that point. And it's not gonna, entirely hinder the Dodgers from making moves. Because if I remember correctly, because it's deferred, it doesn't hit the luxury tax. It's just owed dollars that he's actually owed. It's just cash flow numbers. I don't think it actually impacts the luxury tax at all, or at least that calculation.
It's so funny to me. Like I just finally got a hit.
And Tapper too, of all fucking people.
I came here to break up the no-hitter. So
thank God.
There you go. Just to round this out too, before we move on, probably to another topic. I'm going to give you guys a list of players who are still getting paid in the MLB due to deferred money.
I love that. Let's do it.
Ken Griffey Jr. is still getting paid by the Cincinnati
Reds.
$6 million.
Yup.
Manny Ramirez.
He's got what? One more year? Is it one more year for Griffey of deferred money after this one?
It is. I don't know. This is just a list of deferred contracts.
I'll look that up. You keep going.
Manny Ramirez still getting paid through 2026.
Unreal.
Jim Edmonds just ended. Got $3 million until 2019.
Crazy.
Brett Sauerhagen.
Oh, I remember him. Yeah.
Still getting paid until 2029.
LOL.
This says Todd Helton still gets paid by the Rockies.
Wow.
Matt Holliday gets paid by the Cards still until 2029.
Damn.
Ichiro.
Wow. See, and that's the fun thing that I think people sometimes forget is that baseball contracts are fully guaranteed. So if a guy is let go, released, DFA'd, or whatever, they're still owed that money, but the team can choose to annuitize it over a long period of time to knock down the actual cash flow number per year. And that's why you get these situations where like Ken Griffey Jr. is getting paid fucking 15 years after he was done playing. Maybe not 15 years, but still. At least a decade. And it's awesome for those players because they're still getting a fucking check every year from these teams. Like, Griffey was making what, 3.6, you said, Juice? This past year? Wasn't it like 3.6 million?
3.6.
Yeah. Bananas. But that's
3.6.
That's baseball contracts for you, baby. That's why they're fun. Because it's fully guaranteed. And that's why, like, in the NFL, right, you'll see these big contracts get signed, but everybody's like, I don't give a fuck about what the actual number is. What's the guaranteed number? Because at the end of the day, if they release you, that's all you're due.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times those are signing bonuses, more often than not.
I think it's something the Cubs will definitely use in the future, though. I'd be surprised.
I think so. I think so, especially with the cash flow coming through without everything they've done to Wrigleyville. I think you have to weaponize that. If I'm the Cubs, I 100% would be weaponizing that. Because you're one of the few teams in baseball that has an economic cash cow around your ballpark that you almost fully own. Or at least the biggest cost things of it.
Did they defer any money for Jason Hayward?
Yes. They deferred a little bit of money for Jason Hayward. I think he's making $5 million this year.
And then that's it. Then he's done.
Yeah, then he's done. This is the last year that Jason Hayward was getting paid. Yeah.
which I saw a stat that he has a better WRC plus than Ian Happ since he's left the Cubs.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
It's that LA Blue Dodger effect, man.
So what's up, Nick?
Yeah, what's up, dude? Sorry, we were like
You're good,
we
man.
were balls deep in a very lengthy contracts and present
Fiery
value
topic.
of money and all that good shit contracts. So we were down a rabbit hole for sure. How's things, man? How's life treating you? How you doing today?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Glad to be off work with you guys watching this game. Hoping to get this to turn around. Like I said, I came on. I knew I was going to break up the no-hitter. Now we got to get the lead.
I love that. Well, they got a chance here.
I'd like to see Amaya just put one in play right here.
That's exactly what he just fucking did.
That's what he just did, yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
a run.
Good job, Juice.
That's all we needed. I'd clap too, buddy. Good piece of hitting. 2-1. Like, I mean, you want to stay close here.
Yeah.
Just give yourself a chance because you're going to see somebody different eventually.
And Stolen said it here. He says, good at bat by Mr. Amaya. Rickes said, looks like Fried is losing it all of a sudden. Well, I mean, when the lineup sees you a couple times, that tends to happen. So, especially
did we answer that? Yeah, I was just going to click on that.
Yeah, are the Dodgers mortgaging the future for the short-term goal? Does this deferred cash catch up to them and cause issues for many years? It can. It absolutely can from a dollars and cents standpoint. I don't think it actually, no, I think it does count against the luxury tax now that I think about it.
I was going to ask that question.
It is 100% like they are trying to win as many World Series as humanly possible over the life of that contract, because after the fact, they're going to need to rely on minor league talent more than ever, because $68 million a year is going to be committed to showing.
Which, in their fairness, they're like the best at.
Oh, yeah.
They draft like last almost every year.
And they still develop, they still have a top 15 farm even on a down year. Almost
it's the best
every
front
year.
office in baseball.
Hey, that's that Tampa Bay Rays effect, baby. Andrew Friedman. You give Andrew Friedman real money to screw with, and that's what happens. You get the Dodgers.
The minute
that's why they signed him.
Is the minute you won't see the Dodgers be the Dodgers anymore.
1,000%, because the Dodgers weren't the Dodgers before he got there.
100%.
Like, they were a good ball team because obviously they're the Dodgers, but like they had down years. Like, they weren't always a great team. It wasn't until Friedman got there, and because Friedman did this shit in Tampa. Like, Tampa's been good about doing it since, but Friedman did it the best because Tampa was actually making World Series appearances with Friedman at the helm still.
Who leads Tampa now?
I don't fucking know. One of his disciples. I'm about 99% sure it's a disciple of Friedman's, because they kept it in house. They just promoted it somebody into the GM role, and they kept it moving. Friedman. Oh, Rickes has a good talk about here. He says he wanted Friedman before the Cubs got Theo, but was happy they got Theo. Wish he stayed longer. Yeah, but that was Theo's philosophy. Theo was real big on the don't stay longer than 10 years in any given place. Which is why I wonder, how long does Jed stay in the front office? Does Jed take the Theo model? Because if you think about it, Jed's been a member of the Cubs organization for, 13 years now? Is this year 13?
I think Jed probably doesn't find a situation as
nice
healthy as this one.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, in Theo's case, Theo ended up Theo moved on to do bigger and better things. It wasn't he just took another baseball job. I mean, he's been in the front office. He's been helping consult for teams in other leagues and shit. He's making hand over fist doing literally whatever the fuck he wants to do. I'm sure he's going to show up once at Wrigley this year with the fucking mustache and the ball cap on again. Because the dude can. He does whatever the fuck he wants. He's Theo Epstein. Theo Epstein is more of a sports icon sex symbol than he is a baseball front office executive now at this point in his life. Which, good for him. You've done it all. You broke two of the biggest curses in baseball. I think you should ride off into the sunset and do whatever the hell it is that you want to do. Nick, I do want to bring this up because I know it's been a long time since we've discussed this. You have the coolest fucking microphone in the world, by the way, with the color changing. I hope you know that.
Thank
It
you.
distracts
Thank
the
you
living shit out of me every single show.
very
I'll catch myself sitting there watching it. I'm just like, that's really fucking cool. Like, I know I've told you that personally on the side of like, I love your microphone, but I don't think I've ever said it on the airways before.
I appreciate it, man.
It trips me out. It's cool though. I'm gonna let you two talk here for a few minutes though. I'm gonna step aside really quick and go eat something. I'll be right back.
For sure.
Nick,
Juice.
you ready for another South Park episode?
Dude, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Ozempic?
Yeah, Ozempic. They're gonna totally use Cartman. He's gonna be the
100%.
main. Yeah,
100%.
it's gonna be fantastic. Their specials have been very good. I've loved the South Park specials that they do.
I know. I miss the full season stuff, and I know they'll come back to it.
They'll go back to it, but yeah, they do great. They just do great everything. That's probably my favorite adult cartoon. I watch a lot of them. That's probably my favorite one.
Oh, it's classic. Yeah, so Steele's looked pretty good. Made one mistake, and other than that,
yeah, other than that, he did well. I mean, he almost just gave up a homer to RCO. We almost just spoke too soon. I was just gonna say the long ball has been really like striking to me with Justin Steele. Like, one, I have him on fantasy, so I really understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I just don't understand why he's giving up so many long balls. I think it's missing location.
It's all location.
Yeah.
The early home run he gave up, he just didn't get the pitch in enough.
Yeah.
And on the inside corner, which is it's usually his bread and butter. Like he likes to get in on the hands, and he'll have to pitch out of this. I wonder too if they didn't use like Ben Brown yesterday, so I'm sure he's available after the off day.
Yep.
How long they let him go here?
He's at 90 pitches now.
Yeah, and Duvall's the one who took him deep.
Yeah.
So
they moved the runner over to third now. So we got one out, guy at third. I don't know if you're on a delay.
Yeah, you're gonna need like a swing and a miss.
Yeah. Well, see, that's why. Do you go to the bullpen here? I mean, he's already close to 100 pitches, but you really don't have a guy that you can. That's why he's out there.
Unless you're going to give it to Brown, which I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you may see it here, but I don't know.
Duvall.
I mean, too. He hit. What happened?
He hit Duvall.
No, that's okay. I'd rather him get in
than leave it right over the plate. Yeah.
Just trying to make sure he doesn't leave that over the plate, because that's what did him in on the home run. But yeah, I too, like, I agree with this. You're working to get him back.
Yeah.
And now you're going to – but it's fine. I mean,
Jose
now you're going to
– bullpen, Juice.
Oh, great.
You got Quas in the bullpen. It's a very close game to be bringing Quas in. I don't know. Any type of wild pitch, like,
This is when I would have had Ben Brown ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Quas, like, you can't afford any type of wild pitch here at all.
Yeah, and also too, like, you could easily find yourself with them loaded, and you can't do the 3-batter rule. He has to be in there.
I hate that rule. Oh man, that was a tough play.
They scored. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a tough play.
Yeah, it's just.
I agree, though. You kind of want to, like, not end on a bad note. Get him his confidence back. I don't know. Like you said, have Ben Brown start this inning. I think things might go a different way. But hindsight's 20/20.
And two, I know it's a tough play, but Wisdom really just doesn't have much feel for the position either. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I don't think he's making that play even if Steele's rushing
No,
the ball.
and I don't think there is one first baseman on this roster who makes that play.
No. Yeah.
I mean, the only guy I've ever seen in a Cub uniform that maybe makes that play is
Rizzo.
Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, I was going to say
He's
Anthony
charging in
Rizzo would be there.
like a psychopath.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, he just doesn't have the overall feel for the position.
I mean, personally, I don't like Patrick at first. I'd rather just see Bush there.
Well, you know my opinion on Patrick in general.
Yeah.
I'm just not a Patrick Wisdom guy. I know he fits a place in this team, but I just don't see it.
He's
yeah,
really
yeah, there's a good chance Mark Grace maybe makes that play.
Yeah, I think Mark Grace would. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, Wisdom's too streaky for this lineup and for this team. I feel like you put him on another team, maybe he gets away with it a little more, but like you got to have good at bats. You can't have a black hole. And sometimes he turns into that where like he has really bad at bats. He's not hitting homers, which is why you have him there. So.
Yeah, I don't like tonight he hit in the 6 hole, the 5 hole. Like to me, that's like one of the most important spots in the lineup. And I hate. Then again, I don't like Patrick Wisdom. That's just sorry. I'm like the worst guy to be asked this question.
There might be a little bias.
Ooh, here's a good one. Most underappreciated Cub, past or present?
Ooh.
I can do both. I don't think Mark Leiter Jr. gets enough praise with how great he's been this year. Same with Ben Brown. Like Ben Brown has been in his first full major league season, and to go back and forth. Hayden Wesneski, I'll throw in that too.
I was gonna say Hayden Wesneski's my guy because he has shown a lot of prowess this year, and he's been asked to do a lot with like not having the confidence fully back, and he's really delivered. He's had a couple outings where like he'll get roughed up just a little bit, but he doesn't lose it, and that's what's really important in the bullpen guys. Someone that can keep their composure even in the face of fire.
I'm also going to make like a little playoff thing here. If we're sometime in September, October, and I see this matchup, Jose Cuas versus Acuna Jr., I won't watch. I'll sit in the bathroom and probably puke until the at-bat's over. He just doesn't even want to throw him anything.
No.
But in the past, most underrated.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I'm going back through like.
I mean, I can think of playoff past people, but they're not fully.
Aramis Ramirez is one of them. A lot of people forget Aramis Ramirez was here and so damn good for so long.
He was so good. He was my favorite player growing up. Besides D. Lee. I love D. Lee too.
Derek Lee, probably another one that you can name like that. I appreciate it. He wasn't here as long as Aramis, but I don't know. That's a really good question. It's one of those that I would really love to go back and look through because I'm sure there's a bunch of names that I'm like just forgetting, missing out on.
Yeah.
I'd say Sutcliffe, but Sutcliffe was always so loved and revered.
Yeah, I was going to say,
organization. But he was so damn good. Zambrano gets forgotten a lot because of how much he
Big Z
flailed out within the organization.
Yeah.
But I mean, he was appointment television for a long time. Yeah, it's.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, Luis was like there, but not here for long enough, I think, to like be unappreciative. I think there's some of that.
Yeah.
I think Big Z.
Mold.
I think Big Z too. Like, unfortunately, if you go back and look at the way the team performed and how they should have performed, like, I mean, a lot of those like 07, 08, like, I mean, Sports Illustrated wrote a story about how the Cubs were going to win the World Series in like 2007, 2008. That's how good that team was. And I think like Big Z almost like was the poster child for that team underperforming, and almost like not the crybaby Cubs, but almost like that kind of attitude was thrown towards, they're struggling, and he didn't take it well.
Yeah.
And he was the ace of those teams. So, I mean, he did like what he had to do. But I think like, I feel like a lot of Cub fans didn't like Big Z at the end because they didn't like the results from the team. And he kind of wore a lot of that, which is fair. I mean, he was the best.
He was the
best
ace.
starter on that team.
Yeah.
I'll never forgive Lou Piniella for taking him out in the 6th inning with like 70-some pitches to bring in a reliever so he was ready for game 5 or I don't know, game 3 so they could pitch him twice. It's like, no, win the game that's at hand. Against the Diamondbacks. And then we had Ted Lilly throwing his mitt around in game 3.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I leave and all hell breaks loose.
Well, pun intended, loose.
Quas is in, so.
I know. Yeah. I saw that.
Oof. When one of these relievers is healthy, Jose Quas is the next DFA candidate.
Yeah, I think he has to be.
What are you guys discussing here? I see a lot of throwback Cubs in the
most underrated, unappreciated Cub on this team, and then all time.
Underrated in terms of talent, or underappreciated?
That's what he kind of did both. Like underappreciated, like we're really good, but never got like the
love.
The love that they. I said Aramis Ramirez. Like people forget about Aramis.
Aramis was going to be my underrated or underappreciated of all time.
Yeah.
I think underrated of all time. Well, at least for me in like my lifetime, I think the underrated Cub is Starlin Castro.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh man.
Uh-oh.
Ozuna from the Braves.
BP, baby.
Well, yeah, when you throw it right down the middle, that's going to happen. He's just bad.
Why would Craig go to him? And like you said, why not have a fresh arm to start off the inning? Let Justin leave on a good note. Let Ben Brown go out there.
Yeah.
His roster spot on this team is so valuable right now that it just can't continue.
Yeah.
No, that was a center cut. Like
he fucking
I mean, what does this guy do that Carl Edwards Jr. can't do?
It's a great question. He has the funky delivery juice.
That's all.
I hate that shit.
It seems like people with that funky delivery, they have control issues. It's hard to replicate.
But really, doesn't Tyson Miller kind of has an odd delivery?
Yeah, he's got more of an extension. Yeah.
It's more like it's less sub, more 3/4. Like
so,
I feel like Quas is going all the way down. I don't know.
You guys will be excited to hear this. So I've transitioned my PSP gaming from MLB 2K7 to MLB The Show 11.
What, did you buy that online?
No, I had it. I already had it. It was just a game I had stashed. So I'm currently playing a game today as the Cubs because I went down a rabbit hole earlier, Juice. I did what you do. And I was like, all right, so MLB The Show 11, I was like, it would be the 2011 Cubs roster. And I was like, to Baseball Reference, we go. And boy, oh boy, did I have fun diving back into that. I went through every roster from 2009 to 2014 and just dove in and was like, holy fuck, I forgot about this guy. Like, can I pull these up and lift some off with you guys? Can we have some fun with this?
Please.
This was good. Oh, Jesus fuck.
Yeah, please.
Hold on. Gotta tell people to come join the watch along because this game is no longer worth watching. So
no, we're gonna have 105.1. That's a fun exit velo.
Yeah, we got Quas auditioning to pitch in the Derby. Quas serving up BP right now. Can only imagine how the Cubs player feels when he comes in. Quas supposedly found his slider again, just doesn't have the command. Quas is unwatchable. A lot of Quas hate, which I'm totally fine with. But yeah, Aram all-time underappreciated, underrated all-time, I think might have been Castro, at least in my lifetime of watching baseball. Current team, most underappreciated player on this team. I don't know. That's kind of hard.
I said Leiter Jr.
Yeah.
I think he should get way more publicity.
I think underrated.
Than he does.
I think Leiter Jr. is a really good one. I would almost also make the argument for Nico.
Yeah, I could
to
see
an extent.
that.
To an extent. But then most underrated current Cub. Ooh, probably Steele, to be honest with you. Because, like, if you look at, like, all, like, the MLB show ratings and shit he gets, he's, like, a 79 overall. I was like, this dude was literally, like, your third place in the NL Cy Young voting a year ago, and he's not even a fucking 80 overall. Come on. Now.
They do him so bad on the show.
They do him dirty. But, so, here we go. 2011 Chicago Cubs, managed by good old boy Mike Quade. Finished 71 and 91. But listen to this team.
Bad. Navy Perez.
Catching 125 games that season was a 28-year-old Giovanni Soto. Playing 153 games and having a pretty decent year with 28 bombs and 80 driven in at first base was one Placata, Mr. Carlos Pena. Darwin Barney was your second baseman for a majority of the season. 143 games. A 21-year-old Starlin Castro played 158 games that year. 10 homers, 66 runs driven in, and 22 stolen bags. On top of that, also would like to note, Carlos Pena walked 101 times that season. He struck out 161 times.
It's a good walk rate.
He walked 101 times. So they looked good. A 33-year-old Aramis Ramirez was still getting it done with 26 home runs, 93 runs driven in, and a 306, 361, 510 slash line. Aramis is that dude. 100% from the underappreciated of all time. Aramis was
so good.
So good. A 35-year-old Alfonso Soriano had 26 bombs and 88 runs driven in. Marlon Byrd was your everyday center fielder. And only playing 87 games that year was a 34-year-old Kosuke Fukudome. Included in that group was a 34-year-old Reed Johnson, a 25-year-old Blake DeWitt, a 25-year-old Tyler Colvin, a 30-year-old Jeff Baker, a 25-year-old Tony Campana, a 32-year-old Coy Hill as your second catcher, a 28-year-old, he only played in 20 games this season, but a 28-year-old Brian LaHare. DJ LeMahieu was still a Cub at 22 years old, playing 37 games that season. Luis Montanez played 36 games that year. Wellington Castillo caught 4 games. And then Brad Snyder and Steve Clevenger round out your position players that made appearances that year.
I was a huge Wellington Castillo guy.
I also was a big
Thought he was going to be great.
Yep, I did too.
He wasn't.
Had that same thought today as I was running through these. This is where it gets really fun now. We get to the starting rotation.
Randy Wells?
We do get to Randy Wells here.
Yes.
A 34-year-old Ryan Dempster made 34 starts that year through 202 innings.
Jesus Christ.
And struck out 191, a 4.80 ERA. Matt Garza had his best year as a Cub. 27-year-old Matt Garza, 31 starts, a 3.32 ERA, 2 complete games, just shy of 200 innings, 198 to be exact, and almost a strikeout per inning guy at 197 strikeouts. A 30-year-old Big Z made 24 starts that year, a 4.82 ERA, 145 and 2/3 innings pitched. A 28-year-old Randy Wells with a 4.99 ERA and 23 starts. He had 2 complete games, including a complete game shutout. He threw 135 and 1/3 innings that year. A 35-year-old Rodrigo Lopez made 16 starts for the Cubs, 26 total appearances.
That was a person?
Yeah.
I do not remember that name.
97 and 2/3 innings pitched. And then a 23-year-old Casey Coleman made 17 starts
Casey
that
Coleman.
year, a 6.40 ERA and 84 and 1/3 innings pitched. Your top relief pitchers were a 32-year-old John Graybow, a 25-year-old lefty James Russell. I remember James Russell. Well.
He was
good. 28-year-old Sean Marshall,
yep.
A 26-year-old Jeff Samardzija, and a 28-year-old Carlos Marmol. In addition to that, relief pitchers to pitch over 20 games that year included Marcus Mateo, Ramon Ortiz, and Kerry Wood.
Ramon Ortiz was a Brave.
Ramon Ortiz, I believe, was a Brave. I believe you are correct.
Who was the last guy you named?
Double checking that right now. I'm sorry, no, Ramon Ortiz was a Anaheim Angel for a long time.
Thinking of a different Ramon Ortiz then.
The last guy I named was Kerry Wood.
Oh, I know that guy.
55 games pitched that year for Kerry. He was the 6th most used reliever on the team. Graybow made 58 appearances. Russell made 64 appearances. Marshall made 78 appearances. That was a team high. And then Samardzija and Marmol both made 75 appearances that season.
My mistake. I was thinking of Russ Ortiz.
Ah, yes, good old Russ Ortiz. I do remember Russ Ortiz. Fun fact about that bullpen that year. 3 of these pitchers had a sub 3.5 ERA out of the bullpen. Can you name the 3? They are of the names that I just listed.
Russell?
No.
Russell
had a 4.12 ERA.
That must have been before. He had like a couple of seasons.
He did. He had a couple of really nice years. I think in 2012 he ended up having a really, really good year. I'm actually looking right now. James Russell had a 3.25 ERA in 2012, and then was really good for Atlanta in 2014. He had a 2.97 ERA once he was traded away from the Cubs. Who was the first one? I'm sorry. Did you say Kerry?
I said Kerry.
Yeah, 3.35 ERA for Kerry Wood. That's one of them. The other 2 guys are both sub 3 ERAs.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a sub 2.5 ERA.
Shot in the dark, Samardzija?
Samardzija was a 2.97 ERA that season and 75 appearances out of the pen. He was really fucking good.
The last one I feel like I'm not going to get.
Sean Marshall.
With the names. Oh, that makes sense.
2.26 ERA from Sean Marshall that year.
Did they trade him in 12 then?
I believe they traded Marshall in 13. No, I'm sorry. You were right. After the 2011 season, he went to Cincinnati. Yep, that was his last year as a Cub for Sean Marshall, was 2011. Yeah. Marshall started with the Cubs in 06, pitched for the Cubs for 06, 07. He was mostly a starter those 2 years. 08, then he moved to the bullpen. 09, he made a couple of starts, but did both. And then 2010, 2011, he was strictly a reliever.
Real quick, without Googling it, name the pitcher that the Cubs traded for in the Sean Marshall trade.
Travis Wood. I love Travie Wood, man. Travie Wood was my shit. I was a big Travie Wood guy. I was sworn he was going to be the fucking ace for the Cubs at some point, at least, because I was like, wow, this dude dude's kind of good. And he was fun because he was a pitcher who could rake. Back at the time when pitchers would still hit, I was like, I would get excited when Wood was on the mound. I was like, he might go 2 for 3 at the plate today.
I saw him hit a bomb at Wrigley. It was awesome. Yeah, it was in the playoffs, the NLDS, when he came in for I forget who it was, but he came in for someone that got hurt.
Oh, that's right.
Then he hit a bomb.
So let's have some fun with this 2013 Cubs team because I had fun looking at this one too. So your lead catcher that year was Wellington Castillo.
Oh, man.
Riz was in his second league in the year. Yeah, he debuted in 2012. Darwin Barney was still at second. Starlin was still your everyday shortstop. Luis Valbuena was your third baseman. R.I.P. to a legend.
Val Bueno.
Alfonso Soriano was still on the team.
Yeah.
David DeJesus was on the Cubs.
And his beautiful wife.
Fun fact, your second highest RBI total player played right field that year, and that was Nate Shearholtz.
Remember the Nate Shearholtz days?
Nate Shearholtz was fun. I was a big Nate Shearholtz guy. Catcher number 2 that season was Deonor Navarro. 1 year he played for the Cubs. Junior Lake debuted that year. Ryan Sweeney.
What a really funny story. Just to go like the Junior Lake team. When Junior Lake was a thing, that's when I believe the White Sox had started to talk about Luis Robert, like being a guy that they were going to.
Can't hear you, Juice. I don't know what happened, buddy. You're moving. Your lips are moving. You're not frozen. Nor were you muted.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
That's weird. Your technology's not loving you tonight. It's just
never really
not loving you.
But when they were starting to get Luis Robert, I remember saying, "Oh, Luis Robert, that's White Sox for Junior Lake."
That's funny. That's funny. Just going through some of the great comments here regarding our
Mickey Morandini.
Yeah, Hank White, or not Hank White. Sorry, Henry Rodriguez. I'm thinking of Henry Blanco. Good old Hank White.
Fan club.
Braves went free to go to the distance after playing the doubleheader and extras last night. That's a good point. Funniest thing about Big Z, switch hitting power hitter. Yeah, it was fun watching Big Z take the plate as well. Rickist says might as well let Quast throw 60 pitches tonight. I'd be fine for that as well. He's just no need for him either. And then Stolen says, why is Quast still out there? Because he's throwing BP. This is the perfect spot for Hendricks' bullpen debut. I don't hate that idea, truly. I think you might get that in the 9th. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a chance. Because you do got to remember that Hendricks is coming off of throwing like a starter's duration of pitches, 5 days ago? So you got to keep that in mind as well. I don't think
you want to see BP, this Braves lineup, make him look like BP too.
Yeah.
Even when he was good, this was a terrible matchup for him.
Yeah. No, that's 100% true. My favorite fun fact about this whole thing. So 2012 Cubs, I'm 99% convinced this was the Brian LaHair All-Star year. Even though over 130 games, he still only had 16 homers and 40 ribbies, but I think he did most of that in the first half, and that's why he got the All-Star appearance. But this was statistically one of Alfonso Soriano's best years as a Cub, was in 2012. 32 bombs, 108 runs driven in, with a 262, 322, 499 slash line. He was an 821 OPS player that year at 36 years old. Crazy shit. This is just getting ugly. What is it with us doing these watch-alongs and the Cubs getting absolutely fucking pummeled lately?
What the heck?
This happened against Atlanta, too. We did the watch-along, and they got their shit whipped.
Let me just say
this. It was the only game that they got the shit whipped.
I'll be happy when we don't have to see Atlanta anymore.
This is a good question here, speaking of things that, well, yeah, I agree. I don't want to see Atlanta anymore either. Still, it says, how about best and worst Cubs trades? Well, the Jake Arrieta stroke trade, I think, goes down as one of the greatest of all.
Brock for Bergoglio.
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about that one.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's hit to the good old Google machine. I want to see what ones come up.
Josh Donaldson one was bad.
Wasn't he in the trade for Rich Harden?
I believe so. Remember we talked about that? He only got like 20-some starts out of Rich Harden.
Yeah.
Over the course of 2 years.
Well, obviously, this is among the best. Obviously, getting Larry Bowa and Ryan Sandberg for Ivan DeJesus was fantastic. Giving up George Bell. Giving up George Bell to get Sammy Sosa.
From
the White Sox.
That'll pass.
We've got the Cubs getting Fergie Jenkins as a part of a three-player package for Bob Bowl and Larry Jackson. Obviously, Jenkins became the best player out of all of those. Adding Mordecai Brown and Jack O'Neill for Larry McLean and Jack Taylor back in 1903. The Baltimore swap, Feldman and Clevenger for Strop and Arrieta. I mean, that's just a timeless one. I think we lost Juice again to his internet, unfortunately. So, Nick, you get to sit here and listen to me fucking list these off. The Cubs got Kiki Kyler from the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 1927 for Sparky Adams and Pete Scott. Loved the names back then.
Yeah.
Raiding the Pirates was the name of this one, and it was a raid. The Cubs gave up Matt Bruback and Jose Hernandez and Bobby Hill for Kenny Lofton and Aramis Ramirez. That's a good trade right there.
That's a good one. That's a great one.
Landing Rizzo is widely considered on this list in the top 10. For those that forget, the Cubs gave up Andrew Kashner and Kyung Min Na. It's a rough name. For Zach Cates and Anthony Rizzo. And the fun fact of that is in 5 seasons with San Diego, Kashner had a 3.67 ERA with a 28-43 record. So not great, Bob.
Not great.
They got it done. And then they call it the Derek deal. Getting Derek Lee for Hee-Seop Choi and Mike Nannini back in 2003. Get old Derek Lee from the Marlins. So, yeah, there you go. That's the top 10 according to that's according to MLB.com.
So those are the good ones.
Yeah, those are the good ones. Let's find some of the
other bad ones.
Let's
cringe. Let's cringe, Cubs fan.
Here we go. 10 worst trades in Cubs history. This is from Bleed Cubby Blue. Al Yellen wrote this article. Number 10. The Cubs acquire Matt Karchner from the White Sox for John Garland. That's a good one. We'll have to let Juice back in here first. Hey, buddy. Oh, and he's gone. And he's back. Missed some good best trades. The Aramis trade was in there, as was the Derek Lee trade. The Anthony Rizzo trade made the list. It was a top 10 according to MLB.com. Biggest, best Cubs trades. But now we have a worst from Bleed Cubby Blue. The first one was number 10. This was in 1998. The Cubs acquired Matt Karchner from the White Sox for John Garland.
Yeah, remember that one.
November 21st, 1972, the Cubs acquired Bob Locker for Bill North. I don't know. That one doesn't help me out very much. 1969, the Cubs acquired Johnny Callison for Oscar Gamble and Dick Selma. 1987, the Cubs acquired Calvin Schiraldi and Al Nipper from the Red Sox for Lee Smith.
Yeah, that'll hurt.
Damn. The Cubs acquired Mitch Williams, Curtis Wilkerson, Paul Kilgis, Steve Wilson, and Pablo Delgado from the Rangers for Jamie Moyer, Rafael Palmeiro, and Drew Hall. That was in 1988.
Yeah.
This one was from 1951. The Cubs acquired Bruce Edwards, Joe Hatton, Gene Hermansky, and Eddie Nixis from the Dodgers for Andy Pafko, Johnny Schmitz, Wayne Terwilliger, and Rube Walker. This is another one from the 50s. Oh, hey, Dansby got a double.
Sort of.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of, sort of. Maybe, not really. Let's see here. We got a couple more. Def the Jake or Aram trade. Yeah, the Jake trade, obviously. Getting comical out here with Quas, 100%. Making me sick. Quas lost 4 mile per hour on his fastball, 0 effort. Cashner was pretty highly rated at the time. He was for the Rizzo trade, absolutely. And then Lee Smith and Suter trades were crazy dumb. Well, let's keep going. We got 4 more of those because the Cubs bats are deciding to hit finally now that it's 9-1. December 11th, 1956, the Cubs acquired Ray Cat, Tom Paholski, Jackie Collum, and Wally Lammers from the Cardinals for Sam Jones, Hobie Landreth, Eddie Mixis, and Jim Davis. We're starting to get into names that we actually know here now. February 11th, 1977, the Cubs acquired Bobby Mercer, Steve Ontiveros, and Andrew Mulstock from the Giants for Bill Madlock and Rob Sparring. 1987, the Cubs acquired Brian Gwynn, Mark Lynette, and David Wilder from the Oakland Athletics for Dennis Eckersley.
Yeah.
Late 80s, Cubs did not make a lot of good trades in the late 80s, is what I'm learning from this. And the number one worst trade, Ernie Broglio, Doug Clemens, Bobby Shantz from the Cardinals for Lou Brock, Jack Spring, and Paul Toth. Yeah. That was all she wrote. Here's some dishonorable mentions. A lot of these are pretty old. Oh, a couple of good ones, though, of recent years where I actually know names. 1959, Bill Henry, Lou Jackson, and Lee Walls to the Reds for the other Frank Thomas. Literally, that's how it's written. The other Frank Thomas. Hysterical. Good writing. 1960, Tony Taylor and Cal Neiman to the Phillies for Ed Boucher and Don Cardwell.
Bobby Boucher?
Bobby Boucher.
Showed up at halftime and the Cubs won a burn ball, do you?
1966, Ted Abernathy traded to the Braves for Lee Thomas. 1967, Ray Culp to the Red Sox for Bill Schlesinger. 1973, Larry Guerra traded to the Rangers for Mike Paul. 1978, Ron Davis to the Yankees for Ken Holtzman. 1983, Willie Hernandez to the Phillies for Dick Ruthven and Bill Johnson. And May 21st, 1999, Kyle Loesch and Jason Ryan to the Twins for Rick Aguilera. But yeah, a lot of people forget that Josh Donaldson was a Cubs prospect, as was Dontrell Willis. I forget which trade he was in, though.
It
wasn't the Derek Lee trade.
No.
Dontrell Willis. Dontrell.
Matt Clement?
That sounds right. Early life career. Florida Marlins. On March 27th, 2002. Hey, that was a great day. I turned 7 years old that day. Cubs traded Willis, fellow pitchers Julian Tavares and Jose Cueto. And Julian Tavares, yeah.
I remember Julian Tavares.
And catcher Ryan Jorgensen to the Marlins in exchange for pitchers Matt Clement and Antonio Alfonseca. Yep. So that was the Willis trade.
I remember. I loved Matt Clement.
I mean, I don't know if you could put this up there, but at least for like more recent trades, I think back to the Matt Garza deal because that's how Chris Archer ended up in Tampa.
Yeah, that one's bad.
Not that Chris Archer was a world beater, but he pitched a lot longer for Tampa than Garza ever did for the Cubs. Garza had 2.5 seasons as a Cub before he was dealt to the Rangers at that deadline.
Yeah, and it would have saved a lot of conversation because remember all the talk was, are the Cubs going to trade or sign Chris Archer? It's like, yeah, well, they had him at one point.
They had him, yeah. He was a Cubs prospect. Trying to think of some other good ones. At least the Brewers lost today, says Stolen.
Yeah, there you go.
There's
See?
a positive.
Silver linings.
Silver linings. Rick's birthday is March 20th. Ooh, the power to March. Hell yeah. We love that. One of my good friends, her birthday is also March 20th. Yeah, man. I mean, there's been some crazy trades. You look back in like even just in recent history, right? I mean, could you make the argument that one of the better trades in recent memory was sending Ryan Dempster to the Texas Rangers for Kyle Hendricks?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely.
How about Justin Margin, Jason Hamill to the A's for Addison Russell?
Yeah, this one too. Bad.
The Dylan Cease trade, yeah, for Jose Quintana, Eloy and Dylan going to the South Side, yeah.
I may have been the only one. Well, I may have been the only one who said that the only one that was going to hurt out of that
Cease
was Dylan Cease.
I remember saying the same thing at that time to a lot of my friends. They were like, "How do you feel about the Cubs losing Eloy?" I'm like, "Fuck Eloy. Cease is going to be the better player of the two."
Yeah, I remember too watching Cease and just being like, the Cubs don't have this.
No.
Then they didn't. Like, if you look, and they traded what they didn't have. Which,
they had it, and it was gone.
Oh, see, this is a good idea, though. I know we're looking for Kyle to make his bullpen debut, but Porter Hodge gets a moment here. I'm a fan of that.
Porter Hodge? Yeah, I like that too.
Let him ease his way in.
This is a good one here. Yeah, the Addison deal was amazing, but Addison outcome kind of made people not want to talk about it. Sure, but I mean, if you talk about what he did in that World Series year, he was a 97 RBI player that year. I mean, he was a big piece of that World Series trade.
Yeah,
Joe Carter
that'll play 95 on the paint. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I don't know what the fuck happened to mine. I had my broadcast just stopped working. There we go. Now I can see it. Oh yeah, that's a nice pitch. Oh yeah, ring him up. Joe Carter for Rick Sutcliffe.
Wild.
What about how Wilson Contreras? Wilson was signed by the Cubs as an international free agent, right? Yeah.
Yes, I thought
he was signed by the Cubs. He was always a Cub.
Yeah, because he was.
Because at one point, he was the longest tenured player in terms of just years with the organization.
Why couldn't you just put Hodge in the second? We'd be winning. Come on.
Well, they gotta start using some of these guys, man. I mean, Hodge is painting fucking 96 on the corners.
I don't get why he went to Quas.
They just gotta trim some fat. Wilson was the farm, I thought. Yeah, Wilson was the farm. They signed him as an international free agent. They developed him. He originally came up as a third baseman, and then he eventually became a catcher. And then obviously he left for free agency. So yeah, no trade to be had with
I don't
Wilson.
remember Hodge throwing this hard in South Bend.
Probably helps because he was starting a lot though in South Bend. No.
Yeah, but I mean, they only throw. Usually, they only really throw 4 innings. So
that's true.
It was. I swear, it was 92. But I mean, of course, it's his major league debut. Maybe he's feeling it.
Some adrenaline going.
Yeah.
But throwing 96,
he's shit pumping 96 right now.
But hey, these are all silver lining moments where he comes in against 2-3-4. Did he get Olsen too?
He did.
Yeah, and
that was awesome.
That'll work. And now Council can look at him and go, okay, you're up the next ladder of the next time you come in, it's not going to be a 9-2 ball game.
Yeah, next time you're coming in, it's 3-2. We have the lead, and we need you to bridge to Leiter and Neris.
Please.
Yeah, I love this, man.
That's good though. See, they need
just
rocking.
It's rocking and firing, man. I forgot all about rocking and firing. That's how long it's been since I've thrown a baseball on a mound. My arm hurts just thinking about it.
Yeah, my arm fell off already just thinking about it. I have shit for arm strength, so.
And my elbow hurts now too.
I think I need Tommy John.
I got into a lot of fun conversations about Paul Skeens over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of conversations?
Just about his arm slot and when the Tommy John stuff will come up. And a lot of people are saying like it's just a matter of time for a kid like that. I hope not. I love watching that. That was my response to everybody.
Yeah, it's not good for baseball when these guys get hurt. I mean, look how many good pitchers are hurt this year already.
Yeah.
Like
There's
a nauseating number of top arms in this sport that are out because of TJ.
I will say this: he has such a funky arm angle that it could be. I could see him having some issue, but I mean, I don't want it to happen.
No, I don't either.
Like,
I don't wish that.
All of them that throw a baseball almost 100 miles an hour have a chance to get injured.
Oh yeah,
Not
yeah.
I think though that's why you see the Cubs like all of their starters don't throw that hard.
Yeah, I'd still love if we had some guy who just threw 99.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they have a couple of guys though that throw hard, but they're all coming out of the pen now. Guys like Ben Brown, guys like, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, Freed's about to go a complete game. Oh, Luis Vasquez.
Yeah, Luis Vasquez.
Yeah, and as Stoller said a little bit before that, Vasquez sighting.
Grab a bat, kid.
Yeah, no question about it. Hodges effort. Those are the guys you need in big spots. Yeah, well, you know, get out there. He's taking some big league takes. I mean,
I love when these guys come up, they get handed a number, but then like all of their equipment has the other number on it.
yeah, from spring training, they're like spring training numbers still. Yeah, 75 on his arm, his elbow guard. I saw that too. I thought the exact same thing, Juice. As soon as you started talking, I was like, yeah, I thought the exact same thing.
It's always fun to see an MLB debut.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't want to watch him strike out that easily, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, Freed's kind of dealing, and he's max free.
Kind of good. It'd be really nice to see this guy hit a baseball hard.
Yeah. It has looked lost recently, unfortunately.
Yep.
It's
when he goes, they all go.
Yeah, and when he doesn't go, they all suck.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just like this series or like just the last couple of games. He looks lost. I don't know what's going on with Saya, but it's not great, Bob. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, get foul. God damn it. I really wanted him to work a good at bat.
Yeah.
Just get some momentum going into.
All right. Well, we're down to our last out, boys. This was a fun watch along, though. We talked about a lot of juicy shit.
Yeah, we really didn't do usually we do games and we do fun, but
yeah, well,
sometimes it's fun to do
This game kind of flew by in a lot of ways, though. I think, I mean, Nick jumped on in the sixth, and now it's slowed down since the sixth inning. But it's this game fucking cruised for those first 6 innings.
Pitch clock works, man.
Still, it says Suzuki needs an off day. Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe tomorrow.
Might get it tomorrow.
Turnaround.
Yeah,
with a quick turnaround. Let Talkman have a start and right. Because do we know who's pitching yet for the Braves?
No, or not even the Cubs either, right? That didn't get announced either.
Yeah, that hasn't been announced either. We'll probably get it after the game tonight. I'm just seeing if they've announced anything yet. Yeah, Braves still haven't announced.
What if it's just Kyle? They just throw Kyle out there.
I don't
After all of this, Kyle's our opener.
It'll be Jordan. I bet you they activate Jordan off the IL tomorrow and Wicks will throw. That's my guess because he's eligible to come back off the IL. So I think he has been for a while now. I think for like a week.
Is he back with the team?
Yeah, he watched. He came out of the bullpen with all the starters after watching Javier Assad's bullpen before the game yesterday. He was with the starting group. So yeah, Wicks is there.
Yep, that's probably the move then. And then Quas gets the DFA.
Please. Has to.
Or they just send Vasquez back down.
Honestly, they might.
I swear.
But I swear to God, if Quas is on this team over Porter Hodge, I'll be pissed.
Yeah,
I don't
especially with what you saw tonight. I mean, 96 on the corner, that'll work.
That'll do, Buckaroo. That'll do.
Especially, too, since he went through Ozzy Albies and Olsen and
he went through the teeth of the lineup. Yeah, like it was nothing.
Azuna.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll play. Good old Max Fried. Also, too, I feel like the Cubs are due to, finally see somebody who isn't a Cy Young Award candidate all the time.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I would hope so.
It's like, oh, here's Skeens, here's Jones. Oh, Max Fried.
Max Fried.
Seriously. Holy fuck. Yesterday was Morton. I mean, they had a...
Yeah, and Morton, too. He's not great, but he's got great off-speed stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Sorry.
We're out here. Play the Reds soon?
Not until the end of the month, baby. Not until the end of the month.
Can they play the Reds soon? Can they play, Sisters of the Poor? We need, a 16-1 win.
An ass throttling? Yeah. They need to
We need a 4-game series against the Southsiders to reset ourselves. They're the get right.
They're playing well, though, too.
They are playing a lot better ball of late. The Kursaquas returns like the Cubs could not believe he sucks so bad. I did, according to
we should just have the Rockies come back.
There you go.
Rockies come on.
That's the team. Them and the Marlins.
Uh-huh. Yeah, even the Nationals are playing decent baseball. Not great, but decent. Oakland, not great.
I was gonna say the Nats have been oddly decent this year. I mean, they're third in the NL East. They're doing better than the fucking whatchamacallits, the Mets, and
they're about ready to turn on that rebuild, I think.
Yeah.
Another year.
Abrams has been great. They got a lot of those prospects. I mean, once you start seeing Dylan Cruz and some of those guys get to the majors now, because they've got some high end prospect talent in that top 100. I mean, I could really see them turning it on and turning it up. I mean, just let me look here really quick. Just in the top 100 alone, James Wood is the number 5 prospect in all of baseball. Dylan Cruz is the number 7 prospect in all of baseball. I mean, those two alone are big difference makers. Brady House is a third base prospect. He's number 37 in all of baseball. So, I mean, they've got a couple of big impact top 30 guys.
They're Dylan Cruz, too, aren't they?
Yeah, Cruz is number 7 in all of baseball, prospect-wise. James Wood is higher than him, though. He's number 5.
Yeah.
They've got two top 10 prospects, both outfielders.
Well, Dylan, when did Dylan get drafted? 23?
Yeah. Dylan was the number, 2 pick? Number 3 pick behind Skeens? Yeah, he was the number 2 pick behind Skeens.
Which is wild because that kid's
he's a dude. He's a dude. I mean, they got a ton of talent though. I mean, Cade Cavalli is another guy that they've got who's borderline kind of here. They have a lot of outfield depth. You want to talk about a team that's got outfield depth. 6 of their top 9 prospects are outfielders.
Yeah, they'll probably move one of those guys to first base.
Probably. But Wood, Cruz, and then Elijah Green, Dalen Lyle, Robert Hassel III, who they got in the Juan Soto deal, and then Christian Vaquero is the other name. Some of these guys are a little further away, though. Most of them are in A-ball. Hassel's the only one of those last 4 that I named that's in AA or better. DJ Hers is their number 12 prospect. We could see a DJ Hers sighting in the majors sooner than later. But they got a lot of pitchers kind of lower in their top 30. Jake Bennett's a lefty. Jackson Rutledge. So yeah, they'll be a team to watch here in the next 2 years. It'll be interesting to see what the Nats do.
Who's their starting rotation?
Mackenzie Gore is a part of that.
Not a lot of question.
Yeah, let me do some Googles. All the Googles. The Googles.
Hey, Bernie.
Hey. Hey, with a sad face. I feel that. I feel that immensely right now. Here we go. Let me give you some depth chart. Your starting pitchers, Josiah Gray's on the IL, but then you have old friend Trevor Williams, Mitchell Parker.
Yeah.
Mitchell Parker, who's one of their top 30 prospects, is in the rotation right now. He's lefty, 6'4", 240 pounds. That's a big boy. Jake Irvin, he's a 6'6" righty. He's in their rotation. Patrick Corbin's got the last year of his deal, and then he can go rot into the sunset. But Mackenzie Gore is the biggest name in their rotation right now, besides Josiah Gray. But
Are they putting together a baseball team or a basketball team with the height on that rotation?
They got some big dudes. 6'4". Williams is 6'3". Corbin 6'4". Irwin 6'6". Their bullpen's the same way, man. Finnegan 6'2". Harvey 6'3". Dylan Floro, another Chicago Cubs legend. He's 6'2". Jordan Weems is 6'4". Robert Garcia 6'4". Derek Law is 6'3". Jacob Barnes is 6'2". And Tanner Rainey is 6'2".
Good for Derek Law still getting a check.
Yeah, Derek Law.
Remember him coming in that 2016 series when he was with the Giants.
Yeah. That was his rookie year, fun fact. This is his rookie year. Appeared in 61 games that year. Was really good that year, too. 2.13 ERA that year.
Cubs hit him around a little bit, though.
Yeah, ever since then, he hasn't been the same. Last 2 years in San Francisco saw him with a 5.06 ERA in 41 games. Then he only pitched 7 games in 2018 to a tune of a 7.43 ERA. Goes to Toronto in 2019, a 4.90 ERA in 58 appearances. He didn't pitch in 2020. 2021, he was with the Twins, only pitched 9 games with the Twins. 22 years with 2 different teams, made 2 appearances with the Tigers and 15 appearances with the Reds. 2023, he was also in Cincy, 54 appearances. Probably his best season prior to this one was last year, 3.60 ERA. And then this year, he's already made 25 appearances, has 4 holds, and a 2.76 ERA. It's been very good for the Nats, actually. So, yeah, fun facts, man.
He'll be a trade candidate.
Could be, just with your boy there too, and Mr. Hunter Harvey. But see, that you beg the question though, right? Like, if you feel like you're going to start turning the corner soon, when does trading prospects turn into, or trading bullpen arms turn into keeping bullpen arms? You know what I mean? Because you look right now, and like this, realistically, this outfield next year could be totally different for the Nats because Winker, Rosario, those guys are probably both gone. Lane Thomas is probably the only guy that's still there. Maybe Jacob Young and Victor Robles. But Gallo's probably gone. So realistically, I mean, you could have Dylan Cruz come up. You could have Wood come up. And all of a sudden, like, maybe they're kind of good with Abrams and Meneses as that DH, just that bat. I don't know, man. Be interesting to see. Bernie says, I know who's going to be in the World Series this year. She says the Phillies and the Yankees. Yeah, well, the best teams in baseball.
2009?
Yes? Question mark?
When the Yankees won their last ring?
2007 was the Yankees' last ring, I thought. Was it 09? Maybe it was 09. I don't know. I don't remember. Time is.
Look it up.
David says the Cubs will never get this together this year as long as Happ is a middle lineup hitter and Mad and Amaya are playing most games.
2009.
2009. Okay, there you go. Mad and Amaya's batting average 213 and 182. How could we be serious with these guys playing?
Yeah, catcher's a problem, but
yeah.
I don't think it's one that's going to be solved this year, unfortunately.
No, I don't think it will be either.
Although I think that they'll be really heavily in on Danny Jensen come the offseason.
Yeah, he's having a monster year. The Phillies are good. She said, Bernie says she's afraid to play them. I say meh, just because how often do we see the 2 best teams in their respective divisions like actually go to the World Series? It's very rare. Especially now with the new playoff format. It's a total crapshoot now.
just get in. The team who's playing the best. I mean, who thought that the Diamondbacks were going to be the team that got to the World Series last year? Not I.
Not I. Shit, you would have told me that the team that snuck into the NL picture would have been there. I would have been like, shit, I wish it was the Cubs. Let's do a little snapshot of the divisions and what's going on here in baseball. Yeah, NL Phillies are the best record in baseball in NL right now, 36-14. That is the best record in baseball.
Oh, God damn it.
Yankees and Guardians have the best records tied in the AL. They're both 33-17. How about the Guardians? How about the Kansas City Royals are 32-19? Oh, Jesus
I'm with
Christ.
you, buddy.
What are you doing here?
You don't even know I was here?
No, because I had a different screen up. I was looking at something else.
I just wanted to pop in and say, what the fuck happened tonight? Because I couldn't watch any of it.
You don't. Jose Cuas happened.
Jose Cuas.
Cuas happened.
Jose Cuas happened. Like I kid you not. Here, let me pull up the box score real quick. I'll read.
Can they just find the bodies already?
Shit, yeah.
He won't tell anybody where they're at.
So the fun fact of all of this, because Steele came in the 7th, and he technically got tacked for 5 earned tonight. That Steele.
Yeah, but that's really not.
But it's really not. It's because he inherited. It's because he inherited, or Cuas inherited his runners. Steele gave up the 2-run bomb. That was really the big mistake that Steele made in this game. And then Cuas came in, pitched an inning and 2/3, proceeded to give up 4 runs, 3 of which were earned, which I think he allowed 3 of Steele's earned runs to earn or score as well. So, and Cuas gave up 2 home runs. Cuas looked horrendous. Porter Hodge looked great, though. He came into the 9th and struck out the side against the heart of the Braves lineup.
He looked fantastic.
96-97.
Nice.
Yeah. Shit pumping 96 mile per hour fastballs on the corners of the strike zone. He looked good. That was the highlight of the game, was Porter Hodge. Offense didn't do shit. The offense had a couple of hits. The offense had 3 total hits and Happ had 2 of them. So for what that's worth, Dansby Swanson had the other hit.
So much for Happ just needs to hit and this lineup will be all right. Not tonight, huh?
No, nobody hit tonight. Corner was 0 for 3. Vasquez made his debut in the 9th. He came in and struck out. Max Fried won a complete game.
Holy shit.
Yeah, 2 runs, 1 earned, 3 hits, no walks, 9 Ks for Max Fried. He was very good tonight. He threw, 105 pitches? Yeah, 105 pitches. Horner was 0 for 3. Vasquez 0 for 1. Suzuki 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Bellinger was 0 for 4. Morel was 0 for 3. Wisdom was 0 for 3. Wisdom's that OPS, Scott, is plummeting for Patrick Wisdom. He's down to a 859 now. He was at like a 9-something the other day. Swanson was 1 for 3. Happ was 2 for 3. Madrigal was 0 for 3. Amaya was 0 for 3, but Amaya had the RBI that drove in Happ. So Amaya did something productive.
Why is Madrigal even in the lineup?
Because it was against the lefty.
Still,
that's just what they're going to tell you. I'm not saying I agree with it. It's just that's going to be the reasoning.
I get what you're saying.
We need to start a segment called "Trimming the Fat."
Yes,
where we just talk up shit about all the fat that's on this roster right now,
like Nick Madrigal and Jose Cuas and
Patrick Wisdom.
Patrick Wisdom could be another one. Yeah, I mean. Amaya, he looked good the other day too. He got on base 3 or 4 times. Then tonight, nothing again. But the RBI, I guess.
Yeah,
got rid of Dick Lovelady though, so that's a plus.
They did. They actually got something out of it too. They
got rid of him.
Bernie was watching the Phillies game. She said because of this gong show. I said this multiple times, Hank. I think you joined us a little late, my friend. I said Seiya just looked lost at the plate. He really does. He looks lost right now.
Needs down.
Yeah, he's getting.
I obviously I didn't see this game tonight, but yesterday, he had 5 cock pitches right down the cock, and he just fouled them off or missed them. I'm like, what are you doing, man? You were too good of a
down the cock. Matt says Horton will be here by the trade deadline. Shaw and PCA will be back. There's help coming. Yeah, I don't know if Shaw's going to be up. Shaw's struggled a little bit at Double-A Tennessee. I can give you some numbers. Hang on a second.
Horton did pretty good today. I saw
he did. He looked really good. 5 innings of work, struck out 6, walked 1. Only gave up a couple of hits for Iowa. He looked really good. Yeah, Matt Shaw is a 672 OPS player right now in AA. So you will not be seeing Matt Shaw this season. That's pretty much what that guarantees. Hank says, dude, you got to trademark cock pitches. Right down the cock.
Right down the cock, Hank. That's just what you got to say every single time.
You think the dugout knows cock pitches?
They do, especially when David Ross was in the dugout touching freaking cocks with each other. With
I forgot about that. The cock slaps.
The cup to cup, fist bumps with your cock.
This. Ever since you came in, this has become a TV episode.
Sorry, if you guys were PG until this point, I just had to come in and fuck it up.
Yeah, you came in and successfully did that. I will say one thing encouraging about Shaw as I look at his numbers right now. He has 10 stolen bags, pretty on pace with what he did a year ago. His strikeout numbers are a little up, but he's taken a lot more walks this year. His on-base percentage is still a 346 despite the 672 OPS. He's just not slugging, and he's not really hitting much. 212 is his average right now. So he's seeing the ball. It's just I think he's just adapting to AA because he really was only there for, 10 games last year? 15 games. Sorry, it was 15
What's
games.
his last 10?
His last 10? Let me go to his game logs. Let's see here. He actually was pretty hot to start the year. He had a home run in game number 1. He was 1 for 3 in that
last
game.
7 days.
222,
300 OBP, slugging 222. Yeah, not good.
No. So you will not see Matt Shaw this year. Is what that
Did
means.
you guys? I didn't check anything. Obviously, did you guys see an update on Brennan Davis? What actually? Do you know what happened?
They just said he left the game. I haven't seen anything more than that yet. Ben Brown will start tomorrow.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah.
There we go.
Ben Brown, our savior.
That's why you didn't see him pitch tonight. So that means Wicks is not
the
coming
opener.
Unless Wicks comes back and they pitch him out of the pen first, which is something I brought up, Nick, with you on Sunday's show.
Yeah.
We talked about Wicks maybe coming out of the pen. You know what's funny, Nick, is we sat there, we had that entire discussion about who was going to do what, and then less than 48 hours later, they're like, yeah, Hendricks is going to the bullpen. And I was like, what the fuck, man?
Watch, it'll be Brown to Hendricks tomorrow.
Brown
to Hendricks. May.
Oh yeah, Hendricks he could get in because he's on his rest period right now, right?
He is on his rest. Yeah, he could come in and throw. So maybe Brown goes 3 and then Hendricks comes in to go 4.
Or 3.
And then or 3. And then that's how you bridge your way to the rest of the bullpen. That's probably why they let Quasco an inning and 2/3 tonight was they were just
why?
Fuck it.
Yep.
You'll have Hayden again tomorrow too, right?
Yeah, Hayden only went an inning and a third, so he should be available.
And you'll
Hector
again, Hector Neris, and you'll have Leiter again.
Yep.
And you have Little again. So you got and then where they go after this, Ronald? Do you know? You got it memorized.
What are we talking? Schedule?
Yeah.
They're in St. Louis this weekend for 3. Then they go to Milwaukee starting on Monday for 4. Then they come back to Wrigley on the 31st that Friday for a 3-game set with the Reds. I will be at that first game against the Reds. That's why I know that one for sure. So, and now I need to start slowly memorizing the Cubs June lineup or June calendar because I've got the May one down to a fucking science, but I need to start memorizing June.
It's nice that Wisniewski only threw 14 yesterday, by the way, too.
Yeah, he did not throw a lot of pitches. He got through that inning very efficiently. So that is definitely something to keep an eye on there. I will say one good thing, though, about the schedule. Once you get through these, you got the Cardinals, which I think they should take advantage of. The Brewers series will be a hard-fought series. But then you got the Reds for 3, an off day, 2 with the White Sox at Wrigley. Then they go to Cincinnati for 4. come home or go on the road with an off day, 3 in Tampa, which is not ideal. But then you're back home for 3 against the Cardinals, 3 against the sputtering Giants, an off day, you stay home, 3 against the Mets. Then you go on the road for 4 against the Giants before finishing June with 3 in Milwaukee. So June isn't a horrible schedule. It's definitely their easiest month to date. The best team you're going to see in all of June is probably the Tampa Bay Rays and the Brewers. Like, those are the 2 best teams that they're going to see.
Which we know how those Brewers games go.
Yeah, I mean, they're always tight. They're always tight. They're always close.
Who they would have? I wonder if they're going to send down Quas after today. They might not need to.
They fucking should.
They should.
He was atrocious. Yeah, fire him into the sun. And you know what's funny too is somebody. It was DG on X at Trapeze11 replied to the oh boy, and he says, "Can you fathom the Cubs actually traded Nelson Velasquez for this guy? Another epic miss." That Royals team's humming. Joey, I don't know if you know this. The Royals have a better record than the Cubs do right now. They're 32-19. They are 32-19.
I didn't realize
they had like 15 years to get it right. It seems like forever since they were.
Feels like forever.
All it took was wit
and numbers. Hey, Salvador Perez,
Italian Vinny Pasquantino.
You found the font of youth.
Vinny Pasquantino has not actually been that great this year, bud. He's slashing.
I don't even know.
He's not bad.
He's not doing good.
He's slashing 232, 311, 411. No, their best players are by far good. Salvador Perez and Bobby Witt. Salvador Perez, listen to this slash line: 337, 401, 551.
Yeah, that'll pass.
In 49 games this year, he has 9 homers and 39 driven in already.
Jeez.
He's killing it. Bobby Witt, 308, 365, 551 with 7 homers and 33 ribbies. Michael Garcia's having a good year. Michael Massey's having a decent year. Kyle Isbell hasn't been good. Melendez hasn't been good. Hunter Renfroe has been hot garbage. Nelly V has actually not been that great. Nelly V's got 4 homers and 13 ribbies, but he's a 226, 295, 368 slash.
He started out good and then got cold.
Yeah, he faded hard. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You look at their everyday lineup, or at least guys that have like contributed to it this year. I look at this right now. Like, their best, they only have what? If I do the math correctly here, outside of their backup catcher, who's got a 726 OPS, they have 5 guys over a 720 OPS. That's it. And 2 of those guys are below a 750 OPS. Michael Massey has a 790 that's third best on the team behind Witt. So it's very top heavy. It's Witt and Perez that have done a lot of the damage. But their pitching has been really good, has it not?
Oh yeah, their pitching's been the story, I think.
Their pitching has been.
They've only given up 175 runs.
Yeah. So
their run differential, dude, holy shit, man.
Yeah. So Cole Reagans has a 3.38 ERA. Seth Lugo might be the story of the friggin' offseason. He's got a 1.79 ERA. Brady Singer's got a 2.70 ERA. Michael Waka's got a 4.45 ERA. Alec Marsh has a 2.72 ERA. I mean, they've been pretty good from a starting pitching standpoint. And then out of the bullpen, yeah, their top 2 bullpen pitchers have sub-2 ERAs. That's crazy. John Schreiber, in 22 games pitched, has a 1.25 ERA. And Angel Zerpa, in 22 games pitched, has a 1.77 ERA.
I still think Cleveland wins that division.
Oh, well, Cleveland's in first right now. That's the crazy thing.
Cleveland's so freaking good.
I think a full game. They're 33-17, I think. They're tied for the best record in the AL. Yeah,
Dude,
that
it's
Cleveland
crazy.
team is humming.
It's crazy because you look at their lineup and you're like, they don't have a ton of like star power either, other than Jose Ramirez. Like, and they just get it done.
Yeah, they really do. But
what's the Jimenez? He's been just
Jimenez, yeah.
unbelievable.
oh, Andres Jimenez.
He's been better than Lindor, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he's the second
Probably.
baseman, though, right?
He's a Gold Glover.
He was in that
second
trade,
baseman,
I
right?
thought.
Did he win a
Oh,
Gold
was
Glove?
he in that trade? I don't know if he's got a gold glove. To the stats. Now I'm curious. You've piqued my interest. Let's see here. Josh Naylor's had a nice start to the year. God, guy that I wanted in a Cubs jersey so goddamn badly. 12 homers, 34 ribbies. He's got an 841 OPS. Ramirez has 12 homers and 45 RBIs already.
That power for Naylor kind of came out of nowhere too, because I remember we were talking in the offseason. He really wasn't a power guy. Like that came on this year.
He had 17 homers, I think, last year, if I remember my numbers correctly. Yeah, he had 17 homers the whole year last year. He's got 12 already this year.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a big RBI guy,
He's a
though.
big dude.
Yeah, he is a big dude. I mean, he's still pretty young too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's only 26. I mean, he's a baby by baseball standards.
That was a launch angle.
David Fry might be the single best player in baseball right now. He's only played 34 games, but he's slashing 349, 486, 590.
Jeez.
That'll do, Buckaroo. That'll do. Yeah, Andres Jimenez is 30 RBIs for Jimenez. He only has 4 homers. He's got a 327 on base. He's hitting 266. Stephen Kwan has been lights out when he's been in the lineup. I know he's been hurt a little bit, but he was slashing 353, 407, 496. That's gross. Bo Naylor hasn't had a great year. I feel like they're another team, though, where their pitching is like carrying them. Yeah, their pitching's pretty good.
They're always like that kind of.
Logan Allen.
Dude, they just turn guys into studs in their rotation every year. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's actually I'm actually just really surprised though that we were saying that about the Royals, because the Royals have been for years, like the last like 5-6 years. And I remember I was talking to Greg Zumach about this. Like we were messaging back and forth about the Royals like not being able to develop any pitching, because the prospects they've had, like between Brady Singer and Asa Lacy and Daniel Lynch and Jackson Kowar, like all these guys that are like top end guys, and then they haven't been able to pan them out or get them to pan out. Like that's surprising that they're finally able to, like, I don't know what tweaks they made, but good to see that they're finally turning the corner.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Matt says he'd love to see Kopech and Crochet. Kopech is, I think, a realistic possibility. I don't think Crochet is going anywhere. I don't think the White Sox are just going to trade their ace pitcher right now.
Kopech would be fun, though.
Kopech would be fun because he shit pumps high velocity.
Is he good this year?
Kopech? Yeah, Kopech's been
I haven't watched enough.
It's kind of
I haven't.
He's kind of been up and down, but he's been like he's still pumping like that 99, 100. I feel like he's been much better lately.
I'll get you some numbers here real quick. Hang on a second. Pitching. Oh, so pitching and bright. Kopech has a 3.18 ERA in 20 appearances. He's gone 22 and 2/3 innings, 3 home runs against. He's walked 14, but he's struck out 32. Wow, Michael Soroka has been fucking bad. 5.58 ERA, but listen to this: 34 strikeouts, 30 walks.
I'm surprised his arm hasn't fallen off yet.
Chris Flexen has not been great. 5.48 ERA. Eric Fetty's been really good. 3.10 ERA. 52 strikeouts in 58 innings of work. Garrett Crochet, though, has been a monster. 3.75 ERA at 11 starts. 74 punch-outs, 13 walks. He's actually got a positive record on this team. He's 5-4, and Fetty's 4-1. That's bonkers. But then Soroka's 0-5. So Soroka's pretty much a guaranteed loss every time he's in the rotation.
I don't really know why I hopped on here. I have so much work to do.
That's okay.
I just want to say what's up. Now,
we were about to wrap it up, and then you showed up, and
we gave you a little bit of time to have a little fun.
Yeah, I apologize though, but this has been fun.
You should be really freaking sorry.
Yeah, you know what? Never mind. Let's stay another 45 minutes just for you, Juice.
I miss you though, Joseph. I'll say that.
I miss you guys too. That's why I had to hop on here.
You were multitasking with other on tap duties.
I was. It was fun too. If you guys want to check that out, go check out the Golf on Tap show we did tonight.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Was it? I set the over under at an hour and 15 minutes, and why was it over?
For ours, was it over? I don't even know how long we went.
Was it over?
I don't think it was. So me and Jack actually went into that show with the goal being a half hour in mind, and pretty sure we got close to an hour still.
No.
So
you guys never know how to keep shit short. It's fun because I always go look, and every one of your guys' shows is minimum an hour.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys kept it under an hour today, though. 56 minutes and 45 seconds. Fun fact, Bears on Tap was shorter by a full 19 seconds at 56 minutes and 26 seconds.
Damn.
You guys talked an hour about running backs?
And wide receivers, not just running backs.
Gotcha.
Well, that's what I was wondering. How do you find enough stuff to talk about? Well, Bears are pretty interesting, but enough stuff to talk about right now.
Yeah, you got red bears, you got black bears, you got brown bears, you got polar bears. You could talk hours about bears.
The Pete Alonso Bears.
We went deep into the Shane Waldron offensive concepts. It's a very nerdy football episode, but it was fun.
Nice.
It's a very nerdy football episode, though. If you like good nerdy football talk, this is a good one. Yeah, this is a good one.
You and Q teach me something new every time I get on the show with you guys.
Hey, man. That's the goal.
Meanwhile, I'm just a baseball nerd.
Nerd.
I feel that, though.
That loved watching Justin Steele pitch inside after he gave up the home run.
Oh, he started working in?
Well, he started hitting the spots a little better. It was nice to see Justin kind of.
Yeah. Justin had a good night. Then I just wonder if Craig left him out there a little too long.
That's his deepest outing of the year, right? That has to be.
6 1/3. Yeah. Yeah, because he went 5 2/3 last week.
I think you're onto something. Maybe you left him just a little.
Well, we got to remember he missed the whole month, so this dude's still ramping back up.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, that's what I said to you, Ron, on Sunday. Was it Sunday? That's what I was saying to you. Was I think this is the first two starts were of course he needs to face a different team too, but because the Pirates 2 times in a row, but that's kind of like a spring training right now, new spring training.
Yeah, he's very much still kind of shaking some of the dirt or the rust off. So, but
the dirt too.
The dirt too.
Ian Happ's talking right now, and it's Ian Happ with his 8th multi-hit game this season.
Is it real? He's had 8.
Yeah,
that's actually really surprising.
Yeah,
3.
God, man. God. All right.
Anyway,
I really got to go. So I love you guys.
We're gonna rock this down anyway.
Yeah, we're wrapping this thing up.
All right, I'll wait.
As always, you guys know where to follow us along.
No, just
early departure. All right. We will be back with a show tomorrow following this Brave series. We'll talk all about and dive into more of the nits and knots. It won't be just us having fun on the watch along like it was tonight. Be sure to tune in for that one. It should be right. Yeah, I agree with Jeff. Ditch Quas at the airport. That one should be. Well, let's pin that one. That gets a sticky
straight
star.
Up.
A gold sticky star. But we'll be back tomorrow. I don't know who's going to be on that show, what that's going to look like. Probably will be early since it is an early game. It's a 1:20 start tomorrow. On getaway day. So we will probably have a show right around 5 o'clock is my guess. We'll figure out who the personnel is probably tomorrow. He's there. And that's about all we got. So you guys know the drill. Cubbies on tap. At Joey's Knows Nothing, at Juice on Tap, at Nick _on Tap, at Teddy for AC70. I'm just gonna kick you from the fucking stream, Joey. I swear to God.
I didn't do it.
You guys,
Fuck with you.
we will. We'll end this gong show before it gets any more off the rails. You guys have a good night, everybody. Let's go, Cubbies. Fuck the Cardinals. You know the drill.